Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast. My name is Ezra, and I'm joined by Ahmad and Sire. Got it right this time. For the uninitiated, each of us has brought a news story that we're going to talk about for about 10 minutes. Might go over, might go under. And then we each have 10 minutes to talk about whatever the heck we want to talk about. And then this week, for our hour-long discussion, we're going to talk about the history of game consoles, starting with the Atari 2600, because we don't care about the other stuff.
Oh.
So, with that, Ahmad, your news story.
My news story is that Frozen 2 trailer that came out.
Frozen 2.
Yes.
I could not be more excited for this movie.
So I had completely forgotten that Frozen 2 was actually going to be a thing until yesterday when I was at the theaters and I saw that Frozen 2 trailer.
You didn't like stop everything and watch the Frozen 2 trailer when it came out?
Yes, I did. Wait, when it came out.
Yeah,
on
like
YouTube?
when it came out on YouTube like
no,
2
I
weeks
didn't
ago.
actually, because I really didn't care for it, except when it was presented to me on the big screen. That's when I was
I'll
like,
be
wow.
honest, with the exception of seeing like Elsa in the trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, I haven't like thought about Frozen since 2013 when the first one came out.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I love the film. I've seen it multiple times. I've seen it way too many times, actually, I think.
Yes.
I was on that Frozen hype train, and then everybody got on that hype train. So the train got
they kicked you off.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't even anywhere near the hype train. I just couldn't avoid it.
Yeah,
like,
honestly. I mean,
Yeah.
as a middle schooler, when the movie came out, there was no avoiding this movie.
like your mom loved it, your dad loved it, your sibling loved it. So, I mean, everybody loved
Your
watching
younger siblings wouldn't shut up
it.
about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was, honestly, I'm not going to lie. I'm not even ashamed to say, I would sing the songs. I would sing.
It doesn't have a bad soundtrack. It's a pretty catchy soundtrack.
Yeah.
Except for, I can't remember, there
Not
was
my
like a,
typical genre, but
off the top of my head, but there was some sort of controversy around the story or something. Am I wrong?
I've forgotten most of it. I don't really even remember.
Yeah, I forgot.
People have said so many things about this movie.
But because I remember that was the thing when it got all the hype and stuff.
Well, it's because it kind of goes different from the traditional Disney formula slightly, but also at the same time follows the exact Disney formula.
Yeah. But
It manages to do both, which is
Yeah.
strange.
I remember the first one, like for the first time seeing the film, it was amazing. I thought some of the animation was beautiful. The soundtrack was awesome.
Yeah.
All the actors did a really good job voicing the characters. The second film sort of brought back. It did come out in 2013, but which isn't like really. Actually, it kind of is. That's 6 years. That's a lot.
Yeah,
That's
especially for
crazy.
franchises.
Yeah. So I mean, seeing the Frozen 2 trailer kind of brought back that nostalgia kind of for me for that freshman year in high school, stuff like that. I think the animation looks better, which is cool.
I like that it kind of looks same but different.
Mm-hmm.
That like they're going with a more fall aesthetic rather than winter.
Well, I'll give them credit. At least they waited. Like it's
Yeah.
not like this movie's like we got to rush out a sequel. They're taking their time with it.
Yeah.
Which means it's probably gonna be pretty good.
Which they did the same thing with Wreck-It Ralph. So theoretically, next year, Big Hero 6.
Wreck-It Ralph was not as good as the first one.
That doesn't mean, but it was still really good.
Well,
I mean, it was.
Disney's just trying, and I know this is Pixar, not Disney, but they're trying to avoid a Cars 2 situation.
Yeah.
They don't want to pump out any more of those.
Yeah.
Cars 2 was not bad. Sorry guys, I just have to ruin the whole vibe.
So the problem. So Cars 2, the problem with Cars 2 is that it is so different from the first one, and it doesn't make any sense.
It's a bad James Bond movie with cars.
That's what I liked about. I liked like the espionage thing.
Keyword being a bad James Bond movie with cars.
Keyword being bad. No, I there was something about it as a kid that I thought was cool because they sort of like weirdly expanded the universe in a way. You know, like it was more of that. It wasn't this enclosed town.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is like more of a Cars 2 discussion.
The Cars cinematic universe.
We should have that be our
What
topic
you
tonight.
got? You
It
got
is now, you got
Cars.
planes.
You got Cars 2. you
Oh
got
wait,
planes.
I forgot about Planes. That was actually a good movie. Wait, I think it was.
I can't believe we're talking about Planes right now.
Planes was not bad.
I think the first one is alright.
Actually, I think Planes, the first half was okay, but the second half fell flat.
The second half is just the second half of Cars.
Yeah. Cyrus is
Cyrus
no.
is
just to let everybody know, Cyrus is just looking at me in disgust.
Oh.
But wait, what else is there?
At least with like the Frozen 2, they're not doing what they used to do with Disney franchises, where you have a really successful first movie
Right.
with the main animation studio, and then they turned over the sequels to what was used to be known as Disney Toon Studios,
Right.
which a majority, Ezra, you and I looked at a couple days ago, where they used to just essentially cheaply make sequels to their hit films and put them out straight to video, or I guess it went from VHS to straight to DVD.
Speaking of Disney making sequels, I'm trying to remember sequels that actually did really well.
Well, like I said, like we were talking about with Disney, a lot of theirs, at least for the animated classics, were straight to DVD.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
So-
Like there was an Aladdin 2, which I didn't know about, and it was bad. It was garbage.
because Disney Toon Studios, they eventually shut down because, especially with straight to DVD releases not being profitable in these last few years.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
But any newer ones though, I don't know.
And I think they've clearly, that closure is also a sign that they're going to put more effort into their sequels.
Yeah.
It's not something like, okay, well, Peter Pan was a hit, and then we're going to wait 20 years and then make a couple really low budget sequels for VHS.
Yeah.
It doesn't really, or same thing with Little Mermaid.
Right.
Yeah, I like the idea that that Disney is gonna like take 6 years between sequels to their movies, and like so like we got Frozen 2 last year. Like if you think of like the new Disney era as starting with Wreck-It Ralph, which I think it did.
So Wreck-It Ralph and then Big Hero 6.
Well, it was Wreck-It Ralph. Well, no, I guess it was Tangled was first, right?
Yeah, Tangled was.
What was their first one they did in CG
Princess
and not 2D?
Princess and the Frog.
Princess and the Frog wasn't CG, it was 2D.
Yeah.
It was
Princess and the Frog?
it was computer assisted, but it wasn't CG.
What was their first?
I think it was Tangled.
Yeah.
Probably.
So if you think of it as starting with Tangled, they haven't done a sequel to Tangled, which I guess is fine.
That's cool.
Like that story kind of ends the same way anyway, so there's no like.
What are we talking about? Because you obviously have
I'm not talking
Finding
like,
Nemo.
Well, it's Pixar. I'm talking about
that's right.
Disney proper, like their animation studio.
So
I would
like
say
I think
Tangled.
you start with Tangled, didn't get a sequel. Wreck-It Ralph got its sequel last year,
Well,
which was
Frozen
the
as
same, which was about 6 years afterwards. 6 years.
It is clear you can separate Disney into like eras. Like
Yeah.
they're-
it's Wreck-It Ralph and Frozen was the year after.
Yeah, so theoretically, we get Big Hero 62 next year, and then we get
It's probably not going to happen.
Zootopia 2 the following. And
Well,
then,
we've looked at Disney's upcoming slate. They've announced what's coming out. So
yeah.
Big Hero 6, or if we're gonna get a sequel, it's gonna be years before we get it.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna.
They have that TV
I don't
series.
think we're going to. Yeah, it's gonna stay with the TV show. We're
Or
probably
they're just gonna keep continuing it in like Kingdom Hearts games, which would be cool.
Yeah, because like Big Hero 6 is another thing though. Disney is so good at like brand synergy and cross pollinating and all this stuff that they'll start a franchise, but it's not designed as this is just gonna be a movie or just gonna be a show. It's going to be a multimedia empire.
It's going to be everything in everything.
Yeah, it's gonna have tie-in video games. It's gonna have movies. It's gonna have shows.
Yeah.
Which, granted, side note that we'll probably talk about when we get to our gaming history segment, but it kind of fits here too.
Yeah.
With Disney being such a big multimedia empire, that I'm glad the days of movie studios just cranking out a really low budget bad video game tie-in to movies. Those really aren't a thing
Starting
anymore.
with E.T.
They still exist nowadays, but most of the time, I'd say like 99% of the time, instead of it being a $60 console purchase, it's a 99-cent download on the App Store, which is a lot.
Which is a better place for
Which
it.
is where most people who would be buying these movie tie-in games would be getting them anyway.
Yeah.
The people who would spend $60 for a game are not going to get, here's the Frozen 2, the video game. They're not going to get that.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that kind of era of Disney is pretty much over, because it used to be bad.
Yeah.
So,
But Frozen 2, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Frozen 2, let's.
I'll probably end up
I'm
seeing
probably
it at
more
some
excited
point.
than you are, actually.
Yeah, this should have been your topic.
This should have been mine, but you're the one who suggested it.
I'm excited for
Ahmad,
it.
or not Ahmad. Sire, what's your
You
topic?
messed up again, man.
What's my news story?
Yeah, your
Yeah.
story.
So my news story, and this again ties into our 1 hour discussion later on. There has been a rumor / report, and I don't remember who reported it. I'll have the fact checker look that up. That
Fact checker.
there is going to be a new model Xbox One that ships without a disk drive. This would be presumably to test the waters to see with their next console coming out, as like, because this would just be a new, like a separate model of Xbox One. Like presumably, as we can see with the trajectory of most consoles, when
Yeah.
it gets towards the end of a lifespan, they put out much cheaper versions of the hardware to get any like last ditch effort of sales.
Yeah.
That's probably what this is. And so it'd be interesting to see if this is a market test for future iterations of the Xbox platform without disk drives.
Is it Digital Trends? Is that where you got it?
Probably. I think I read it on Digital Trends, or it might have been IGN or
Yeah.
something. Regardless, it's been reported on by multiple sites, so if you want,
Yeah.
I've read multiple articles about it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's, what do you guys think about having a diskless Xbox One?
I think that's cool because it kind of goes into like the whole like entirely just online,
All digital?
all digital thing.
So my thing
But then
is.
what's the point of it?
Yeah.
My thing is, I don't think it's inherently bad, but I think they need to make it clear to whoever's gonna buy it that like your games are like your disc-based games are not gonna work here.
Well, from what I've heard in the report, is that it would be marketed as the Xbox One S All Digital Edition, and that there would be you would get in the bundle, I think like a 2-month trial of Game Pass, and then they are gonna launch similar to like how Vudu has with movies, where you can like have a service where you can put your DVDs into a computer and then like do disc to digital, where it's like
Ah.
for Blu-rays it's $5 to upgrade from a disc to a digital copy. DVDs it's like $2 or $3. Rumor has it that there's going to be a program for Xbox where you can somehow use your discs and get a digital version of said disc.
Neat.
So this is all rumor, by the way.
Yeah.
But
Neat.
I'm a little skeptical about that news because that would be great, but I'm doubting it'll actually happen. But I would not be surprised if there is a discless Xbox One model that comes out.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
surprise
Says
me.
that you could buy it for as little as $200.
Yeah, which
Yeah, I mean that would be the selling point. Is like, hey, you can get this console for $200, and I just want to play Halo.
that's really what this is. It's just for people who like, I only buy Xbox so I can play Halo, or like those people, because we all know they exist. People who aren't really gamers, they just buy a console so they can play Madden and 2K with their friends.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what this console is for. It's just there's only 2 games I really want to play, so I can play with my friends, and I'll pick this up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like and I think it's smart of Microsoft to have kind of like what the 3DS did,
Yeah.
and have a family of consoles all with like the same or similar power,
Yeah.
than it is to just, cause I think, and you keep on under the same name. So like Xbox One, you've got the S model, which is just kind of your general mass market one. You've got the X model, which is for the high end pro.
The people who want to like play games at their highest level.
Yeah, and then you've got with this all digital edition, which would pretty much just be the people who are the casuals who only want to play 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
My only issue with this would be is if it sells really well, Microsoft is going to take this as a sign that this is what people want, and I think that's dangerous because this is being marketed to a very specific audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if they're looking for an Xbox One launch kind of disaster again, if they say people don't want discs anymore, this is what we go with. It launches and it angers a lot of people because people forget nowadays with how prevalent the internet is. A large portion of the country, if not the world, doesn't have internet access that's great as it is in other places.
Right.
So like most of middle America and like smaller countries are not going to be able, like these games now are getting to like 50 gigs a game.
Yeah.
Even,
Yeah.
Some of them even more than that. And a lot of them are always online games or requiring patches.
Downloading that in like Indiana, especially if you live in like a rural area, is like 2 days.
Yeah. Well, I'm even here at college here. When I try to download a game off of Steam, if it's a bigger game, it takes a while for me
Yeah.
sometimes. So
Yeah.
that's a concern. And then also there's the whole I won't get on my whole soapbox here about it, but the issue of if you're buying a digital game, you don't technically own the game. You're just leasing the rights from the company. But that's a whole other thing.
That is
Yeah.
also a problem.
I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think?
Well,
it's,
I think it's dangerous because then, say for example, as we're seeing with a lot of, and I don't want to get into the politics of this, but like with the R. Kelly songs, how they're getting just taken off of platforms and disappearing.
Yeah.
We're not saying anything he's good at all, but just saying making stuff disappear at the first sign of controversy
Yeah.
is dangerous.
Especially if you bought it.
Especially if you bought it, which is dangerous because, let's say there's a controversy about the next Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
Or I guess that's too big of a game. Let's try something smaller, like some smaller action game from Microsoft.
Yeah, let's say that the next Platinum Games game
Yeah.
has a controversial
There's a
aspect.
controversy about the next Platinum Games game.
Yeah.
It comes out, and in order to circumvent that, even though you've already bought the game, they want to circumvent and get ahead of that controversy. They pull the game off store shelves, and it's gone.
Forever.
You can't buy a used game, even if it doesn't offend you. You still can't play it. It's being decided for you and everyone else that you cannot play this game.
Yeah.
That is dangerous to me, and I don't like that. And it's especially dangerous to video game preservation because that means that anybody who has these games and the preservation of them is completely in service to these companies. If they
Yeah.
don't take care of them, they're gone.
Yeah.
Do you think there would be any way to not have that happen, but online, or is it right now that we know of?
They would require regulation.
And and if there's one word that big businesses don't like, it's regulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's tricky, and I think movies are also going to run into the same problem.
Movies
soon.
have already run into this problem.
They've hit it before games did with movies. Now, what happens if with all these Netflix originals? I mean, it doesn't seem like it now with how much of a juggernaut they are. But what happens if Netflix goes under? All of those Netflix originals that Netflix owns the rights to, what happens to them? Sure, yeah, the rights will probably be auctioned off at like a liquidation, but the things that don't get bought, bye.
Disappear.
Yeah, and all those original movies are lost.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
No.
So that's my main concern with this console. I think it's a smart business move for them to provide this for people who are more casual, and like I said, it's common for game consoles at the end of a generation to be a really cheap kind of last ditch effort.
Right.
And they've already done this with like the PSP Go. They did
Yeah.
that. There was the PS3 Super Slim.
Mhm.
The Xbox 360 was it the E model or
Yeah.
something like that. And like the Wii Mini, this always happens, so it's
Yeah.
no real surprise.
Yeah, if only PT had been paid, somebody could sue. Because like we need the problem is in the U.S. we need a precedent for this.
Well, for most things, if you at least from what I've seen, if you still have it downloaded, it doesn't get rid of it.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
But you just can't download it again or buy it off the store. Like PT, if you have it on your console and you haven't deleted it, you've still got it. But like, if you delete it, it's gone. You can't re-download it.
Yeah, I mean, well, but that's the. I think like the problem is like we need precedent for this kind of thing in the U.S. for it to be implemented.
Mhm.
So like, it's gonna happen once, and people are gonna be really mad about it, and they're gonna sue.
We need a Battlefront 2 kind of situation, which I don't like using Battlefront 2 as an example, but we need something like that, where it's something so egregious and bad that it catches the attention of people who aren't even gamers. Like, if it's bad enough that it ends up on the news or is being talked about in governments way outside of America, then it's going to get that attention.
In Belgium.
Yeah, Belgium. I know most of the European Union is talking about this.
Yeah.
So not surprisingly, I guess surprisingly or unsurprisingly, Congress is not talking about it. But that's I'm not sure if that's a surprise or not. But
still,
Yeah, so good idea, Xbox. Let's see if it works out.
But tread lightly.
Yes, tread lightly, and also don't do a hashtag deal with it again.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't.
What was that with again? Was that with the
That was the Xbox One. There was some low level employee guy. I don't even remember what
Like
his
when
deal
the
was.
Xbox One launched.
Yeah, when it was like still being when the quote unquote hype train was still happening.
Yeah.
There was a guy. There was like a low level Microsoft employee.
It
like
wasn't
Xbox
somebody
guy.
big like Phil Spencer.
Yeah,
or
he
anything like
he
that.
was like tweeting, like hashtag deal with it with all of your problems with this Xbox One,
Oh
and
my-
people were like, are you flipping serious?
Have you noticed that the guy who was the lead announcer, I'm going to say announcer, but the lead guy at that announcement for the Xbox One has not been seen in any Microsoft briefing
Nope. Really?
since that 2013?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if he still works for the company. It's
Was
been
it Major Nelson?
no, it
Is
wasn't
that his
Major
name?
Nelson. It was some other guy. But every other briefing since then, every E3,
Oh.
every announcement has been Phil Spencer every time.
Wow.
That it's the guy who was at the announcement. I have not seen at a single Microsoft briefing.
That's
Oh my
funny.
God.
So
Alright.
yeah, it's I don't think complete side note, but I guess not entirely complete. There has never been a worse product launch that I've seen than the Xbox One.
It does not deserve the success it has had.
No, it was a completely botched launch that somehow turned into a competent rival for the PS4.
Yeah.
Well,
Which is good. We need
Yeah,
competition.
And
but-
the Switch is certainly that, but
yeah. Oh, but the Switch came out like 2 years later.
yeah.
man.
4 years later. Anyways, so my news story is Captain Marvel defied the trolls
Yeah.
and made
The trolls.
it was like 150 million so in the domestic box office and,
And then
455
Globally, it
worldwide.
made tons of money.
Yeah, it made. I think I read that it made $455 million in the global box office,
I'm pretty sure
which
that's
is insane, right? This is crazy. This is like, it did. What Ahmad, give us the numbers.
So foreign,
Yeah.
303 million. Domestically, 153.
Wow.
right. So
Yeah.
respectable numbers.
For
Yeah.
opening weekend. So didn't it surpass Black Panther or something?
No,
It's surpassed
it's
Spider-Man 3. I
Opening
think.
weekend?
It, it's the it surpassed. It is second place in origin stories after Black
I
Panther.
mean, it's the highest grossing so far this year. So
Yeah.
so far though. So
So it's I think
Avengers is gonna beat it.
Black Panther has still, I think it's got the top spot for highest grossing MCU film. I think it narrowly beat Infinity War,
Yeah.
and it's got still the highest for origin story. I think
for opening,
Captain Marvel is in second place. I
Yeah.
read.
for opening weekend.
In origin
yeah
story.
for opening weekend, and I think just overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna chalk it up the success of Captain Marvel to two significant factors. One is Endgame hype. I
Yeah.
think it's hype for Endgame.
I agree with that.
And I think it's also being Marvel's first female-led superhero.
Yeah, I think
Captain Marvel, like
Yeah.
they oh my God, I wish you guys saw it, but I'm gonna keep my conversation for later on.
Well, I mean, I do know from the comics how she gets the name.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
no, but like I mean, it's just unrelated.
No, okay.
I think that there's also the aspect that I think that like there's kind of I don't want to compare it to this, even though I think it's kind of an apt comparison.
Wonder Woman.
There's some sort of twisted Justice League BVS hype, or not hype, like interest around this movie, where it's like there were people who were gonna go see it out of sheer interest as to whether or not it was good.
Mhm.
Like it wasn't based on reviews, it wasn't based on, well, it was kind of based on reviews in that like you had so many people saying it was either really good or really bad.
Yeah.
So I think there were a lot of people who went to it and were like, I'm just going to this movie because I saw some people loved it and some people hated it, so I want to be part of that discussion. I'm gonna go see this movie. And they may have come out feeling one way or another about it, but that certainly contributes to the numbers. So
I'm pretty sure this is actually, I just didn't even realize this. This is, I think, the first MCU movie that I haven't seen opening weekend since, I think, Ultron.
Really?
I don't think I've seen an MCU movie opening weekend in a while. It's been a while. I love MCU movies, but they just.
I always go opening weekend to avoid the spoilers, and it's also a good time with the family.
Yeah.
Obviously, being at college changes things a little bit, so I can't go opening weekend.
Yeah.
But.
Oh well, last year. Oh yeah, that's right. This is the first, I guess, time.
The first time for me,
college,
not for you guys, but for me.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, stay tuned for later in the podcast because I'll be giving my review about spoiler-free Captain Marvel.
I will say, but while we're still on the topic of like box office for it, I think it did defy expectations a little bit.
Yeah.
One, because the marketing was, in my opinion, pretty bad.
Well, it was like.
It was extensive.
Yeah.
But the actual, like for example, the trailers and the ads were pretty bad.
Yeah.
It had a big hype train.
Yeah, well, and like the fact is, regardless of your interpretations on what Brie Larson has said or not said, letting her run rampant saying it did not do the movie any favors.
And that's what my other big issue with it is. I think regardless of whether or not you agree with what she said, letting your lead star in your marketing for one of the biggest movies of the year is.
Like letting her just run rampant doing whatever she wants was not a good idea.
Like I agree she wants to use her platform and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's also difficult when you're trying to market a product. It's different and I think it definitely hurts the movie. Maybe do it when you're on the marketing for the home video release or when you're on like the
post-release press tour, you can say whatever you want.
Or when if you're on a talk show, maybe that's fine. But like, don't do it on like, and I'm sure Marvel wasn't exactly too happy about it either because it did affect the word of mouth around the movie.
Yeah.
Which
is like the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie and say that like it's I don't care about it at all. It has affected my excitement and opinion going into the movie. That being said, I'm going to wait and see the movie first before I judge it. I'm not going to be like those trolls who just like, oh, she said this and then review bomb it on IMDb because they didn't like something the actress said. Like, I think that reaction is not credible, and I think it also just makes Marvel fans look dumb.
Well, and you have to realize that those people would be saying the exact opposite thing about a movie they're predisposed to like.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like that. Like there's no.
Like when Endgame comes out, it's gonna get bombarded with good reviews, regardless of how good it is.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like even if it's trash, it's probably not going to be.
Which another example being like Episode 9, regardless of how good it is, it's gonna get review bombed.
Yeah,
that's just what's gonna happen.
Is that? Well, that's because a lot of things, but
Just for many factors.
Yeah, there are.
Too many for this conversation right now.
Yeah, there are factors that far outweigh anything that Brie Larson has said. Like the stuff around.
Oh, the controversy behind her with the critics.
Yeah, the like critics and the interviewers thing. Like,
I don't think
I did some research on what she said.
I read the full transcript too.
Yeah, and it's like she was very obviously talking about something specific, but the way she worded it was really easy to misinterpret. And so it's like you have sort of two sides that are not all the way telling the truth. And the fact is she said something that could be alienating to a certain subset of people.
Especially when a massive film like this is banking on marketing to a lot of people.
Like everybody.
Yeah.
Like they want everybody to go see this movie.
Yeah. Which is dangerous to have this movie be as marketed, or at least marketed by her as being super, I guess, secular is kind of the word.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the fact is, Captain Marvel, like the fact is she kind of hurt her own cause too, because like the fact is people want to be part of the discussion even if they are from a certain group, right? And so like even if maybe your thought like maybe just keep it to yourself, I guess. Like,
well, I was gonna actually touch on this with my discussion.
We'll get into it.
I mean, we're already 10 minutes in. Let's just move into like what you thought about the movie.
So this are we,
Yeah,
okay,
look
so
at that.
Because news is over, so we're
Yeah,
going to
so
get
I
it
mean,
now.
so-
spoiler,
I'm gonna go based
spoiler
off-
free.
so based off of what you just said,
Yeah.
I think that it is. I think it's cool to see that there you have this female lead,
Yeah.
and it's okay to disagree with the film and say that it wasn't good without being sort
Without
of
like being
villainized,
without being
without
sexist.
being villainized or sexist or anything.
Yeah.
It's a film where it's okay. It's cool because it's cool to see this because not every female led film has to be second to the freaking best. Amazing. Like I'm gonna say for example Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's that's what I think Captain Marvel is. I think Captain Marvel is a film that's okay. I mean it's like the best. It's like any of like Marvel's B movies. You know, it's like.
The fact
I don't think
that we
Marvel
have
has any B movies.
But like I mean like
You mean like they're B tier?
like B tier
Yeah.
movies. I mean
like Thor.
Thor, the Dark World, Ant-Man. The first Ant-Man is I think
I don't argue.
I think is
I know
it's
that's an
B
A.
tier.
That movie is A
Okay,
plus.
No.
it's A
It's
tier
not S
quality,
tier.
but B tier in terms of like
It's
like
overall
hype or overall scale.
overall
Sure,
scale.
yeah.
Okay,
In terms of
Marvel.
scale, yeah, it's a B movie, but it's like
Okay,
it's
so
one of the best ones they've put out.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is like it's cool to see like a female-led film that doesn't have that isn't necessarily the greatest thing ever. It's just
Yeah.
an okay film, and it's okay to say that you didn't like it because you know it wasn't really the best
Yeah.
thing ever. So that being said, I'm gonna go into my sort of.
Yeah,
I-
your
and
opinion.
I want to try to keep it. I don't know. This is gonna be hard because I don't want to have you guys go into the movie with some preconceived notion.
Oh,
Are you okay?
Brie Larson's already made it for me to have preconceived
Yeah.
notions about the movie, so
Right.
nothing you say is gonna really affect
Okay.
that. So,
So
Yeah.
you're good.
going off of that, I don't think Brie Larson was the right fit for the film.
Oh, you think she wasn't the right
as
person
much as
for
I
it?
as much as I love her, I love she's so good. She's a good actor. It's just
Yeah.
I don't think that she was the best.
She was the right
for role.
person.
Like
Hmm.
looking back,
Interesting.
2 months ago. This is this is my opinion. And this is what I'm trying to say. It's okay to have your own opinion.
Yeah.
And hopefully nobody thinks I'm like an evil person. But um,
If they think that, then they are wrong.
well,
So-
2 months ago. When I figured out that Brie Larson was gonna be
Yeah,
Captain
yeah.
Marvel, I was like, that's perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. It's like that's a perfect.
She's certainly got that like classic look down.
Right, and like I had no problem with it, and I guess I still don't, but after watching the film, I just don't think she really worked. I don't know.
I still wish they went with Emily Blunt. I think she would have been perfect.
Emily Blunt would have been perfect. Like there are a lot of actresses who would have done a really good job.
Yeah, Emily Blunt, my roommate, 100% agrees that Emily Blunt should have been. Switch them out. They should have made freaking Brie Larson Mary Poppins and Emily Blunt. Captain
No,
Marvel.
Emily Blunt might be good casting for Captain Marvel, but she's like S plus tier perfect for Mary Poppins. So you don't take that away from her.
So personally, I really wanted to like the film, and
Yeah.
I think the biggest issues for me, Brie Larson. Like I said, Brie Larson's character didn't seem like it fit, and I don't know if that's because Brie Larson was. I don't know if it's because Brie Larson's choices as an actor, or if it was the script, and I think it's the script that was the biggest
Okay.
problem for me.
I
It
do have
wasn't
a
Brie
couple
Larson.
questions for you relating to the movie.
No spoiler. I won't spoil
Okay.
it, but you want me to just yes or no?
No, it's not all plot
Oh,
questions. There's
yeah.
a few. First one was with Brie Larson. Does she? Because I know they didn't show it in the trailers. Does she end up showing more emotion or range as a character? Like, is she a very one note? I'm going to save the world the whole time, like Stone-faced, or is she kind of like? I guess a good example, kind of like Thor, where he's like that, but he shows character growth and like range over the course of his.
It's a good question. So it's kind of weird because the way she plays the character, there's only one moment like that, I think.
Of like humor.
Of like emotion. And
Is it a spoiler moment?
no. Well, kind of. I mean, for the
Just-
film.
just-
For
yeah,
the,
I mean,
I'll
let's
then.
not talk.
Yeah.
Let's
I mean-
avoid the plot.
Yeah.
but in terms of, she did at points seem to play a one note, which is I don't know if that's like what the script called for or if it was her personal choices.
And that was one of my major issues with this that I was also worried about, is I take issue with a lot of the time with these because I know there is a big push, and it's great to see that there's a lot more female-led films
Right.
in Hollywood, especially big-budget ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I take issue with the fact, and they've kind of done this with Ray a little bit too.
Yeah.
And now, and I guess comparative, and it's inevitable this was going to get compared to it, but Wonder Woman didn't necessarily have this problem of when you have a female-led superhero or big-budget movie that the lead actress basically doesn't take any crap from anybody, stone-faced the entire time, doesn't need any help from anybody, and in that she doesn't feel relatable anymore. Like, for example, Steve Rogers. Yes, he does most of the stuff on his own, and but he's also charismatic. If he needs help, he takes it, and he ends up needing help at many points from Peggy, from Bucky, from a lot of different people. And that's just in the first movie. That's not even in later films.
That's interesting that you mentioned that, because I kind of felt that way about this film, Captain Marvel. I just feel like she wasn't really showing as much.
Is there really any real
I guess I should go back to the one note thing. For the most part, she plays it one note, but there are moments where she shows the weaknesses, but not as much as Wonder Woman.
Okay.
So
that was my issue.
That's why I'll say Wonder Woman. It was inevitable this movie gets compared to it. I thought Wonder Woman. It was a good time. I had my issues with it, but overall, I thought the character was what made that movie shine. I had some issues with the plot, and I thought the third act was a little weak, but I thought Gal Gadot did a great job, and they gave Wonder Woman range to a character that was previously just a cheesy 70s TV show.
Right.
This movie doesn't seem like the lead character has anywhere near the emotional range or depth that Diana did.
I would, and that's interesting that we haven't even seen it, and you've gotten it.
Yeah,
and that's why
I've only seen the trailers and ads, and just from the ads alone, you can tell.
That's how I felt. I mean, it was.
That's a shame.
I mean, it is, but
yeah,
that's not to say that the film wasn't enjoyable. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
I think I wasn't. I'm not saying the film was terrible by any means. I mean, it was still enjoyable. There were some sequences that I had felt like were worth going to see it in theaters for. I think that it is a film that it's not their weakest by far,
Yeah.
but it also isn't the strongest film that I would have liked it to be.
I have two more questions with it.
Yeah.
One is, I know it starts to lean to the cosmic side with the Skrulls and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's been talked about that this movie Marvel's kind of banking on, because now that with Endgame a lot of the previous Earth-based characters are going to start to kind of be retired.
Mm-hmm.
Does this movie set up, along with obviously Guardians already set it up, but with this movie kind of...
Sorry.
Just yes or no.
Sorry. Speaking of, kind of like.
Does it lead into the cosmic side being a lot more expanded in future movies?
It does. It left me dying to know more. That's what I want. So about the scroll.
Okay.
About the scrolls.
I have a feeling that she's gonna be kind of like how Iron Man was for the Earth-based stuff, but kind of the head of that.
Yeah.
She's gonna be the head along with the Guardians of the space-based stuff.
I will say that they condense a very major.
The Kree Skrull
war into a very they
they
kind of brush
talked
over
about
it.
it on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a little bit.
Yeah, they do. But I think they do they.
No, in some of the earlier seasons.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely kind of brush over it in the film, which is kind of weird, because you obviously know how big that war was. I mean, they kind of just
So,
But
granted,
I hope that they do go more, which they probably will.
I'm sure they will.
I think that's the thing. I think that's where they're going to go after Endgame.
Yeah.
The scroll thing, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
So we know she's going to be in Endgame, so it's going to be interesting to see how she is on that.
Yeah. I will say that you mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy, and in a weird way, I couldn't help but compare this.
Well, I mean, it
Captain
makes sense
Marvel,
with the cosmic side. and stuff.
cosmic side, but also in terms of nostalgia,
Mhm.
it was a little
'cause
too
of the 90s, yeah.
It was. I was thinking. Think Guardians of the Galaxy with the soundtrack, but
Yeah.
in the 90s with.
Is there any Nine Inch Nails?
That's a
Oh,
spoiler. I don't know.
man.
I mean, but I don't know. There are some sequences where they tried to be Guardians of the Galaxy in terms of just
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But which is what I was in terms of just music and whatever was going on,
Yeah.
that didn't fit the scene.
They've been
And
doing
you'll
that with a
know-
lot of movies now too, because they did that with Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they don't copy it in every movie.
They did
Yeah.
with this movie
Yeah.
definitely, and I don't know if it worked necessarily.
Guardians,
but, I mean,
yeah, Guardians has a very specific style, and so if they
Which is
try
what I
to
love,
like
'cause
keep
we hadn't
doing
seen-
that with different movies, that's not gonna work.
Especially with certain characters. Like
Right,
if they
yeah.
did it with like a Ghost Rider movie, that isn't gonna work.
Yeah, that's not the same.
You can make it. I can see you making it.
Okay, maybe Ghost Rider, but not like the Punisher.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
not the
like
Punisher.
the Punisher, that doesn't work.
or
But
Captain America or anything.
There are some cool moments in the film, nostalgia wise. Like you obviously saw the blockbuster in the trailer, but
Yeah.
there are a lot more.
I did hear that there is a name drop or reference to Kevin Smith. I did hear about that.
Nice.
I think so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. There are also there's some other references as well, but I
Good.
don't know.
Lean
Last
on
question
that.
that I have. Oh, I have one last question for this. So related to the Kree, in Guardians 1, they start off with saying the Kree are basically terrorists, and how what's the main planet in Guardians 1 that they are on?
Star.
Where the Nova Corps is located,
The
and it gets destroyed in like the background of Infinity War.
Yeah.
They say Thanos
Yeah,
bombarded
I
it.
don't
I
remember.
it's where they freaking meet.
Where the Nova Prime is from, that's where they
Oh,
meet,
yeah.
and the Thanos destroyed it.
Yeah.
Anyway, regardless, that planet, they basically say that Ronan and the Kree are terrorists. But in this movie, in the trailer at least, she says, "Oh, the Kree are a race of noble warrior heroes."
That's
Does
what
it-
I thought was interesting. Okay.
Does it kind of start to resolve the whole? Because I know this is in the '90s. Does it start to at least give clues of what happened between them being heroes in this movie and terrorists in Guardians?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Oh yeah. It answers some that like that. I mean, it doesn't. I guess it doesn't answer, but it sort of goes more in depth. Gives more like background
Yeah.
for that, and then also a lot of other stuff. I don't know how because it did answer some stuff, but I don't know if it answered everything that people were looking for.
Wait,
in
I,
terms-
I have a really silly question that also makes me worried. Does Jude Law play the Prince of all Kree? Does
Yeah.
he?
Yes.
Is he Vegeta?
What, not the. I don't
Is
say,
he
I-
Vegeta?
I wouldn't say.
Does
I wouldn't
does
say
Jude
the-
Law play
I mean,
Vegeta in this
I guess
movie?
you could say Prince. I don't know if I would say Prince, but he's
Well, no,
definitely.
I mean, that's kind of Ronin.
I'm
Yeah.
specifically
So I- yeah.
I'm specifically asking whether or not this movie is a Dragon Ball Z copy.
I guess if you look at it like that.
Is
No,
it better
no,
than
it's-
Dragon Ball Evolution?
Is it
No.
no? Is it better than Man of Steel? That's my
Yes,
question.
it is. Wow, that's a hard one.
Man of Steel is so good. I love Man of Steel.
That's a hard one because I don't.
With the exception of just the copious amounts of destruction at the
I
end.
think
of the movie.
I think Captain Marvel was a little
The
better.
copious amounts of anti-Superman at the end of that movie.
But I definitely think some highlights of the film. Ben Mendelsohn,
He's always great.
he's always great. I mean, there was nothing. I wasn't really doubting him. Also, Sam Jackson. There might be a little too much Sam Jackson for this one, but I don't know.
Hmm.
It seemed like it was. If they were to make a solo film,
Like a Nick Fury movie.
but a Nick Fury movie, some of it seemed to be like that. But I'm not going to really go in depth. with
Was
that.
the CG like de-aging good throughout, or was there any noticeable moments where like you could tell it
The
was
CG. So, in terms of the de-aging for Sam Jackson, not really, but there are some CG moments that were kind of bad.
Which it sucks that this is happening because Black Panther had some of those too.
Yeah, but there were some noticeable moments with the CG in general. But for the most part, I think the visual effects were good.
Good.
Yeah.
And was like Coulson's de-aging CG good too?
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
not expecting him to be in the movie a whole lot,
But he wasn't. But
Yeah.
no. But for the scenes he was in, it wasn't noticeable.
Okay,
But
cool.
also,
Yeah.
you mentioned whether or not does it lead up. You said something about
how does it like? Do they explain or at least begin to establish why in Guardians 1 the Kree are known as terrorists?
Oh yeah,
and the
I answered
heroes
that.
in this movie.
Yeah, they do. But like you were talking about how if the movie led into Endgame well. With
Oh yeah, like does it tie in or at least like tee up Avengers Endgame in any particular way?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Especially if you.
I do?
Don't spoil it.
I don't want to spoil it. Is it was aside from just the end credit scene?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think so.
Because
Well,
I know the end
no,
credit scene's
no.
gonna
Actually,
lead in.
well, the end credit scene it's big, but
Yeah.
for the entirety of the film, not really.
Okay.
Not until I guess the near end. But the end scene is
I know there's. I know it's gonna be something with that page.
the end scene is big. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, we're just gonna cut there.
So, all right, we're done. All right, Sire, what's your topic?
Okay, so my topic, since it's such an older film, we're gonna have to branch out. Granted, we always branch out on our topics. I'm talking about Fritz Lang's Metropolis.
Okay.
Now, most people have probably not heard about this film, and most people who are just casual movie watchers will probably just turn this episode off as soon as I say what it is. But it is a 1927 German black and white silent film.
So I hate it already, because I hate German black and white silent films of any era.
What?
Not German specifically, I guess, but like I've seen so many. Like I watched Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Which is not a bad film. Would you compare it to Last Jedi?
What?
No. Where does that go? I was like, whoa.
No. I have very different things to say about those movies.
They're also very different movies in general.
The fact is maybe
Did Metropolis influence Last Jedi?
like
Actually, yes.
yeah, I'm sure it did. But like the problem with watching Metropolis now is the way that I view movies nowadays, and I don't want to like derail this whole discussion, but like the way that I have always viewed movies is like you have some form of dialogue or there's like something that moves the plot forward, right? Like if the plot isn't moving forward in a movie nowadays, you usually have some dialogue to like keep you engaged. In old like German expressionism movies,
You don't have
that's not there. Like it's just like it's like somebody talks, screen of text of the dialogue, and then somebody talks again, screen of text, like, and that's the whole movie.
That's just
and, like, I can't do that.
You have to respect.
I don't respect it.
What?
I
you have to
respect
respect where films came from.
I respect where films came from, but I don't like that. Doesn't have to mean that I think it's good.
So, what I'll say about Metropolis, it is a little hard for me. I have no problem watching movies in black and white. I don't mind.
I don't mind that
Yeah.
either. Like
For
that's
me,
fine.
yeah, and it's also kind of, it has some neat aesthetics too. It is hard for me sometimes watching silent films. Now, I have to usually watch them in bits, especially with this movie being 2 hours and 28 minutes. I had to watch it in parts. I couldn't just sit there for 2.5 hours and watch a movie with no dialogue.
Was this in class or was
Oh,
it?
it's on Canopy. I had to watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. I'll get into what I specifically liked about it later, but what I wanted to mainly say about it was how it may not have aged as well, but for how it looks now, almost, I think it's 92 years later, it still actually looks pretty good. Do you guys know the history, like the restoration of this movie and all the many recuts?
That's not something I'm familiar with.
No. I'm not
So this
familiar.
movie, after it premiered in Berlin in 1927, I think, most reviews were not very kind, especially being a silent film that's 2.5 hours. A lot of people were kind of upset with it. So in order to, of course, most is the case with Hollywood, to ensure profitability, it was slashed to about 90 minutes and then released in the States and across Europe. And Fritz Lang did not like it, and most of that footage that was cut was considered lost for many decades.
Dang.
There was a restoration that Giorgio Moroder did early on that like color tinted it a little bit and changed the soundtrack to include like it was 82 or something like that when it came out.
Yeah.
Modern day artists of the time. So like the soundtrack to an old German silent film included like Queen, Michael Jackson. it was
Oh my
weird.
God.
I've seen a couple clips, and like Madonna or something like that. Yeah, but it's been recut multiple times, and finally in 2010 they found about 25% of the film that was missing in a like warehouse in Argentina and restored it, and so now all but about 5 minutes of the movie is now complete.
Nice.
They've restored all of it, but some frames were so badly damaged that part of the frame is missing. So like you'll have a rectangular box, and then like it's still a 4x3, so regardless it's gonna be a pillar box, but part of that top and left side of the frame will still be cut off because the image was so badly damaged.
Yeah.
But it's really grainy and shaky, but it's still cool to at least have the image even if it is in poor quality.
Yeah.
To see.
Right.
Yeah, but the scenes that they still had that were restored look amazing in HD.
Nice.
What did you think of the film?
I thought it was pretty good. It hasn't aged real well.
How so?
Like in terms of like sets and all that. The film, like the actual look of it, like in terms of the restoration, looks good. But the sets, everything look dated now. That being said, for the time they were amazing, and you can clearly see how it's inspired pretty much every major science fiction franchise since then. There are several episodes of Star Trek I can think of that were inspired by it. The robot from it, the Machine Man, directly inspired C-3PO. Dark City, Tim Burton's version of Gotham, Blade Runner, stuff of Alien, THX 1138.
Oh wow!
Like there are so many movies that, and like Spielberg, Kubrick, Scott, Lucas, so many directors inspired by it.
Right.
Like this, like regardless of how you may feel about like certain presentational aspects, like I think I think it was a bad idea to have dialogue in silent films at all in that era when audio just wasn't a consideration. But regardless of that, like German expressionism and that like style of filmmaking has had so many effects on filmmaking today. Like that's like
very very influential.
Yeah, like it like literally the entirety of how did I forget? Tim Burton.
Oh, Tim Burton.
Like the entirety of his filmography is
Very
just German expressionistic.
Yeah.
I mean that's all the scenes with the inventor and Edward Scissorhands are pretty much stolen from this movie.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be I'm not surprised, but I think German expressionism.
I bet Metropolis is the same way. I don't think.
I would argue there's not
under
a single film that's influenced science fiction more than Metropolis.
Metropolis, yeah.
I mean, it's arguably the first real science fiction movie.
Not like Monster.
Yeah, because like before that, it was all either borderline horror, like Frankenstein, Dracula, and then like adventure movies like King Kong.
Yeah.
There was never really a sci-fi film until this movie happened, whether it be due to budgets or
just
whatever.
Special effects in general. I mean, didn't this film have like? Pretty sure the film, I don't know, I forget, but like some of the best, or I guess most influential special effects too.
And the Art Deco style that it has for the city and the costumes is still beautiful. Like the way the robot is designed, it looks amazing. The city looks great, even though you can clearly tell it's a matte painting.
Yeah.
It's very like if you've played BioShock or BioShock Infinite, the city is from BioShock. Atlas, I think is what it's called.
Yeah,
is pretty much just Metropolis underwater. In terms of like the Art Deco
especially
style.
Man, and then also just like this BioShock's aesthetic is just like that 1950s look, but in the future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Batman, like the Batman animated series.
Yeah, that's what Art Deco is.
Yeah.
They're all taken from that same art style.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Art Deco.
Art Deco. I didn't know
that's Art DECO. Metropolis didn't create that kind of style.
Yeah.
But Metropolis very much popularized it in film.
Right.
Nice.
No, I didn't know that was the technical, or I guess term they called it. That's cool. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about it?
That's pretty much what I wanted to say. Just that if you go on to, if anybody wants to know how many movies it's in like shows it's influenced, if you go on to IMDb, towards the bottom of the page for the movie, after you've searched up the page for Metropolis, they have a thing where it says connections. You can go down to referenced in, and it'll tell you every movie that was either referenced Metropolis or was inspired by it.
Wow,
and the list is super long. There's some obscure stuff, some stuff that's unsurprising, plenty of famous titles and names you'll see on there. And some stuff that isn't even listed was inspired by it. It wasn't as highly as an influence as other ones.
Cool.
Oh, and The Matrix, that's another big influence too.
Oh, of course. The Matrix.
The Matrix was influenced by everything.
Pretty much. The Matrix is just the hodgepodge of everything.
Yeah, and it's great.
Yeah, it's great. I still think
it's
great. Yeah.
One of the greatest action movies of all time. So I'm gonna go for about 6 minutes on my topic. I recently rewatched a movie that I saw over the summer, I think it was. It was a pretty limited release theatrically. I think it was for like one day. It's called Fate's Day Night, Heaven's Feel 1 Presage Flower. And so
quite the title.
Yeah.
I know. Very anime.
And
I don't know whatever that means.
So for our book club thing that we're still sort of figuring out right now, I originally proposed the anime Fate's Day Night Unlimited Blade Works, which is 26 episode long anime that's really good. But both this movie and Unlimited Blade Works are based on the same visual novel that came out in like 2000, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. And they're both different routes in that novel. Unlimited Blade Works is sort of considered like if I recall correctly, I don't exactly know, but I think like the true ending of that route is the one that's like considered canon. I could be wrong, because my Type Moon universe, the Fate series falls under the Nasuverse, which is like the Marvel Cinematic Universe but for anime.
Oh, so it's kind of like what's the Shonen Jump or whatever.
Yeah. Well, no, because those are not connected unless it's like a video game.
I mean, not Shonen Jump. The Shin Megami Tensei, even though they're not all the same.
Yeah, like you have the Shin Megami Tensei games and like the Persona games.
Yeah.
Except those are like conceptually the same. Like the Fate universe is like you have alternate universes that all follow the same rules. And like have character crossovers. So like there's a fighting game called Melty Blood that is like a continuation of one of the visual novels called Tsukihime. And in one of the iterations of that game, there's a character from a different Nasuverse property called the Garden of Sinners. Like the lead character from that is one of the characters in that game, which is really cool, but it makes things really complex, especially when you get to like anime levels of craziness,
which is always crazy
in your concepts.
Oh yeah.
So
this is interesting because like they're different characters than what the series.
Well, so like if you wanted to think about the way that like Iron Man and the first Iron Man movie and the first Captain America movie are kind of connected, even though they're not really connected. This movie is connected to some of the other Nasuverse properties in that same way.
So it's like tangentially created.
Yeah.
That's just kind of cool. I like that. Yeah.
And so like there are base concepts, like the magic system is all the same, like the rules of the game are all the same. They're just like used in different ways in all of these series. Like Tsukihime is like about vampirism, and Fate's Day Night is like a war of mages, and like the Garden of Sinners is really, it's so weird. Like I can't exactly describe it.
Garden of Sinners.
It's really interesting. So anyways. So Fate's Day Night Heaven's Feel is based on the original, like it's a movie in a trilogy that's based on the original Fate's Day Night novel that the Unlimited Blade Works anime is based on. Now this movie assumes that you've watched both Fate Zero, which is based on the prequel visual novel that came out after the original, but like the anime, it assumes that you've watched both Fate Zero and Fate's Day Night Unlimited Blade Works before you've watched this movie. And so if this is the first one you watched, you'd be very confused about what's happening. Like there's so much context that like it's just like
It's like
you totally miss it. Yeah. Now that said, if you have watched those things, which I had before watching this, it's top tier, like thumbs up. Would watch it a third time.
Yeah.
It does a really good job. Like the main character in the Fate Stay Night visual novel, Shiro Emiya, his character is actually really interesting if you take him from different angles, because the series, like the visual novel, when you boil it down, especially like the anime adaptations, are really all about some like base, like a study of what heroism looks like. And so Shiro Emiya is kind of your standard, like, Captain America, good for good's sake, I want to help people character. But if you take him from different angles, he's really interesting to look at. And so, like, his relationship with all the characters and the different routes is what makes the story interesting, along with all the other things that are happening around him. So this movie really studies his relationship with the past and with, like, some of the people in his life that in the Unlimited Blade Works anime, it doesn't do that. It sort of studies his mindset in that movie, whereas this movie is about his relationships.
Because usually when you have a character with, like, movies, since they don't have the time, it's usually just you get the basics, and the TV show flushes it out. So it's interesting that they flipped it.
Yeah, and Unlimited Blade Works is really, really good if you want, like, a sort of like a dark but still heartwarming story. And Heaven's Feel ends, and you're like, oh, this is gonna get really demented real fast, isn't it? And I know some, like, basics of how the plot goes, and so I'm interested to see what they adapt from the visual novel. Because, like, for one thing, the visual novel is from that era where every visual novel had an explicit sex scene. And so it was like, and so, like, the anime
Is this on Steam? Is that where it is?
Actually, I don't think it is on
That's surprising because like that's just like Steam 101.
Yeah, like I think like the reason for that is it's like more than Steam levels of that.
Okay.
But it's like the anime adaptations don't do that. Like they play it, and there was a re-release of the visual novel that cut all that stuff. But Heaven's Feel route, which the movie is based on, like the plot. Yeah, that's the Ahmad's showing me the Garden of Sinners. It's like a series of 8 movies. It's really demented, just so you know.
I'm gonna watch it all right now.
in the hour that we have, he's gonna like speed it up.
Watches it on like 5 times speed.
So it's I'm really interested to see in future movies. The second movie comes out in like a week. Actually, no, it comes out on Thursday. I want to go see it. I really want to go see it, but I'm also willing to wait for the English dub to hit theaters, because this will be the Japanese dub.
Yeah.
But the English dub for the Fate series is really good. Matt Mercer plays the lead character in Fate Zero.
Like him.
Yeah. We like a lot of the voice actors in the Fate series. David Hayter doesn't exist in this series.
Man. See, everything is made better with David Hayter.
Everything is made better with my bad Snake impression, asking unnecessary questions throughout the whole thing. Like, a package.
Like,
water.
Speaking of voice actors also, give them some credit. They don't get nearly as much credit as they deserve.
Voice actors?
Yeah.
I feel like that would be insane.
That's a conversation for another time.
Maybe we'll have a segment on the show at one point that's like our favorite voice actors, because they deserve all of the credit in the world.
They don't get the spotlight like they deserve.
Oh man, that's kind of crazy to think about. I don't think an actor has ever been nominated for voice acting.
The Academy doesn't let it happen.
One of the bigger controversies for the Academy.
That and like motion capture, they still don't let that happen. But.
Yeah, which like some of the voice actors for like I'd give Ryan Potter an Oscar for his work in Big Hero 6 right now.
Yeah. I'd argue that Scarlett Johansson and her would deserve an Oscar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's like one of the bigger controversies.
And I still think that Andy Serkis deserved one for Gollum or Caesar.
Yeah.
Either one.
And he deserves a lot.
Yeah,
more.
he deserves a lot.
Yeah.
Even though it's kind of helped by the CGI, he's talked about it and he's like this is me.
He's still doing a performance.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's something being painted over him, but he's still performing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still his. Like, it would be a different performance if somebody else was playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That's crazy.
anyways, back on Heaven's Feel. I'm really excited to see what happens in the second movie. I'm probably not going to see it just because I don't have the means right now. Like the theater closest to me isn't showing it.
It sucks.
Yeah, because theaters in Bowling Green don't really.
Well,
Play a lot of
Levis Commons even isn't showing.
Yeah,
it.
but still, yeah.
And so I'd have to go to Toledo, which is a pain.
Yeah.
Or I'd go back to Columbus a day early, but I have work.
Yeah, I have worked on Friday.
So yeah, I'm excited to see the second movie. It comes out really soon. Check it out, but watch Fate Stay Night and Limited Blade Works and Fate Zero beforehand because you'll just be missing so much context. Like, it's just not going to make sense to you.
Yeah.
And it'll be cool. It'll be cool to watch. Like, some of the animation is gorgeous, but like you like the plot will just like fly right over your head. And those two anime are really good and not very long as well.
Yeah.
So they're both on Netflix in their English dub releases. So yeah.
Game time?
Check it out.
Is it game time?
Yeah, history of video
okay.
game
Boys,
consoles.
finally, it's been
Okay.
a long time.
So,
waiting.
I've got. So here's. Okay, you want to
So this is
continue
kind
this
of a
one?
passion project
Yeah.
for Sire.
So, I'll go ahead and kind of set
Hey,
the
but
stage
leave
for
some room
this.
for us too.
I
I'm
know.
pretty passionate about this.
I'm just saying. I'm just set the
I think-
stage and then we're gonna let it go.
I
We're
think
gonna say
gaming
that.
history. I think the history of consoles is interesting, but
Yeah,
yeah.
So there's a Wikipedia page that has
Yeah,
all.
I was gonna-
and we're just talking home consoles. We're not
yeah,
talking.
we're talking home consoles because handhelds are kind of exist in their own space and they're kind of like like the history of handheld consoles is basically Nintendo and then the PSP and the DS
So
and then the Vita and the 3DS.
So we
Well,
want
it's
to
really
start-
just Nintendo and Sony.
We
that's
want
what
to
it
start second generation.
we're
Third?
starting
Okay.
we're
So-
starting with the Atari 2600,
So third generation?
whichever one that is.
is. It's second.
Oh.
So we're gonna cover just.
We don't need the wiki. We need you.
Okay. So we're gonna cover just the 5 major U.S. Console manufacturers. So Atari, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, and Sega. Not necessarily in that order.
Yeah.
We're gonna be going in chronological order of release, starting with the Atari 2600 and ending with Nintendo Switch.
Yep.
This will
Nice.
not include handheld consoles or multiple models. So like, oh, you guys didn't talk about the PS1 Slim. When we say PS1, we're talking about all of PS1.
You guys didn't talk about the new Nintendo 2DS XL? What?
Well, we're not talking about handhelds, so we wouldn't.
Haha.
Hey!
Yeah, I've been
Fair
listening.
enough.
Yeah.
You didn't talk about the Xbox One X. You only talked about the One S. Like, when we say one console, we mean the entire line.
the One S is different. It replaced,
Well, yeah, they're different, but it's still an
It
Xbox
replaced the original one.
Yeah,
but
because the
it-
original one looked like a like a VCR.
Yeah.
But okay, so that sets the stage. We're probably gonna spend roughly a few minutes talking about the console, and then at most 5 minutes about the best games on that platform.
So
Okay.
Atari
So,
2600.
Atari 2600 released September 11, 1977.
so I'm gonna need you to look up the 5 best-selling games on that console.
Yeah.
Well, other ones for that console. Okay, I guess the biggest one, at least for me personally, would probably be Pitfall, just because it's classic. But you've also got other great games on there like Centipede.
Wait.
Whoa. Pac-Man,
Pac-Man.
Asteroids, Missile Command.
Galaga.
Oh yeah, Galaga. Space.
Galaga's great.
Yeah, so I have a lot of classics on this. This is
Yeah, I mean that's most of the classics come from Atari.
2600, yeah. Do you
Nah,
know-
I would argue that Pac-Man and then nothing else on the Atari 2600.
For
And
classics.
Galaga. Yeah, like in terms of
Oh,
classics.
Space Invaders.
Oh yeah.
Space
Yeah,
Invaders
Space
is a great
There's
one.
like, the problem is like none of these things have survived past the Atari.
Yeah, Pac-Man, Pitfall,
I mean, they've had
Asteroids,
sequels, but like most of the
Yeah.
time they're not as big.
Adventure, E.T.
Adventure's
Extraterrestrial, Atlantis, Kaboom, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, which is a classic.
The Star Wars games for the Atari were not half bad.
Yeah.
So can you just list the top 5 from 1 to 5?
All right. Pac-Man, Pitfall, Asteroids, Missile Command, and Space Invaders.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Those are the top 5.
At least
Sound
E.T. is in the top. Is this what 20?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Best-
E.T. is
I
in
mean,
the.
it's a list of. I mean, didn't it do well? Like, it sold a lot of copies.
It sold a lot of copies, but then it also angered a lot of people because
Yeah.
it was broken.
Yeah, list of best-selling.
Also, you think about this is E.T. was one of the biggest movies of that summer, so it
Yeah.
sold a lot of copies because video game tie-ins weren't as. I mean, they were big, but they weren't as massive as they would be
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
So it naturally made a lot of money.
Yeah, actually,
I mean,
so-
I don't have as much to say about the Atari 2600 just simply because it. I mean, it didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
But
So let's move on
in
to
terms
the
of like major games.
to the third generation.
We're moving to third. We're
So
not
is
Yeah.
the Atari 5200? Is that
There,
third
it's
gen?
well, it's right now. It's listed under second gen.
The 5200. I guess we don't have a lot to say about that one. It's basically the 2600, but like slightly more powerful.
It's near the end of the second generation.
Technically, it's a second, like another
Yeah.
console, but it's still very much a like half step from the 2600.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Does that
You guys
bring
want
us-
to know the best selling for that one, or?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No.
I
don't-
Also, most games on the 5200 were just ports of the 2600 anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't.
So,
matter.
did you guys want to talk about any other ones?
The
for
NES.
Second, for
NES.
second generation, or
Third generation, we
Third-
move to
we're
the
moving to third
NES.
generation, all right.
If it doesn't say Atari, Sega, Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft, we don't care.
All right,
So
NES.
yeah, let's start with the NES. The Sega Master System is a thing.
Yeah, we'll get to that after this.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so I mean, what else to say other than like it revolutionized the idea of video games?
It brought back video games in the United States after the Atari all but destroyed the industry
Yeah.
in '85.
all right. So top 5 best selling.
These are gonna be kind of obvious.
Yeah.
Super Mario Bros.
Makes sense.
Duck Hunt.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Super Mario Bros. 3.
Makes sense.
Super Mario Bros. 2.
Yeah.
The Legend of Zelda.
Okay.
No,
Legend of Zelda, fantastic game.
Yeah.
Love it.
Super Mario Bros. 2, people love it.
Wait, do they?
Some people love it.
Like, I mean,
It's
I'm sure
it's one
somebody
of
out
the
there
it's one
loves
of the
it.
most divisive video games out there. But some people love it.
Also, we're getting another obvious classic that wasn't on there. Metroid.
Metroid.
Game's great. It hasn't aged as great, but then again, a lot of those games haven't. But Metroid, great
Tetris.
game. Tetris. That was on the NES?
Yeah, I mean right now. It's
Yeah, I mean it was made famous on the Game Boy.
Oh,
but
okay.
Yeah.
That, and then, what was there? There was one other one I was going to mention. Oh, you know, I have to say it.
Oh no.
The original Metal Gear
Yeah.
on the NES.
There it is.
There it is.
The NES port.
It's number 74 on.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah, for all the games that were on the NES.
The,
yeah.
the NES version is not nearly as good as the Japanese version because
Yeah.
the Metal Gear on NES actually got rid of the fight with the actual Metal Gear.
Oh.
Because the technology couldn't handle it. So the
Yikes.
game called Metal Gear couldn't actually have the fight with the Metal Gear. Yeah,
Metal
you-
Gear.
You just stuck a bunch of C4 in a supercomputer and then blew it up. That was it.
So
So,
that sucks.
yeah, but I mean, it's Snake and it's Metal Gear, so get a shout out. And it's unverified sequel, Snake's Revenge.
We
It's
had
a shout
to.
out.
Sawyer had
Gear.
to.
I had to. Oh, and Castlevania. Castlevania gets
Oh
a
yeah,
shout out, too.
Castlevania matters a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That sums up the NES pretty much.
yeah, that sums up the NES.
Yep.
There's not much else to talk about. Just pull up the Sega Master System real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Biggest one to mention is on the Master System, the original Phantasy Star, pretty much made. Even though the Master System was pretty much crushed by the NES in the States, with the Master System, Phantasy Star was one of the bigger,
Oh, yeah.
like early JRPGs.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic,
Prince
yeah.
of Persia.
Prince of Persia was on
Wonder
there.
Boy 3, The Dragons.
And then Alex Kidd, I'm pretty sure was on there.
Yeah.
Wait, no, this
Yeah.
is must-haves. This is not the top selling.
I mean, they are still great games on
Why,
said
why,
system.
why,
I need this to be facts.
Wikipedia.
This is
I need
very
facts.
opinionated already.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
need
me talking about
facts.
Solid Snake. Like,
No. I need the facts of the top 5 selling.
Okay, but let's think about this. When we get to the Wii, the obvious answers are going to be Wii Sports, Wii
Yeah,
Play, Wii
we
Fit.
can-
But
we-
the great ones are now Wii Sports, Wii Play, Wii
Look,
Fit.
we can talk about those other great games, but I need like some history other than this system existed.
And it was
So
good.
let's
Yeah.
let's figure out like what was the most what was the top selling, just so we get an
Do
idea?
you want
of
to
that?
predict them?
Well, I mean,
No.
for some reason I can't find the page.
I can't. I have no
The
idea.
Master System, they might not have released the numbers. Some of these, because a lot of the times nowadays they don't release the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't find it, then
This is a list of best-selling
Yeah.
video games
yeah.
of all time.
All right.
Well, I
let's
guess
just not
in
worry
place
about
of
it.
that, I'll give you a fun fact. The Master System, I'm pretty sure, and it was for many years, but is still on the market in Brazil because it does. That's the country it did the biggest numbers in.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah, it was how the NES was huge in the States. The Master System was there. It sold millions of dollars. Or I guess I don't know
Which
the
is probably
correct-
why we still got the Genesis.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. I mean,
So yeah, let's. What was Atari's? Was there an Atari?
Atari
thing?
78.
The 7800. I really have nothing to say about that.
Okay.
There were most games again with the 5200 were just 2600 games that were ported to the 7800.
Okay.
Atari XE GCS.
Oh, that one. It's actually I don't know why it's on there. It's a computer, not a game console.
Oh.
It was a game console version of the XE computer line.
Oh.
So basically, just like you plug it into your TV instead of a monitor.
Makes sense.
So it's all PC games instead of console games. So doesn't count.
Yeah.
There aren't really that many, so it's just not really. It's mostly just
Uh,
Sega. Sega wins
Do you
this.
have anything to say about the Commodore 64?
It's a computer.
Okay.
Yeah, that is. It's a big.
Yeah, PC. Okay, maybe at a later date we'll talk about great PC games. We're not going to talk about that right
Yeah,
now.
we're talking about consoles
Yeah.
specifically.
Move on to fourth generation.
Yeah. So Sega Genesis, I guess, is the first thing.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo.
So I mean,
That's all. Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog is probably the top selling game.
For
Genesis?
Sega Genesis?
Oh, it's
Oh,
gotta be.
yeah, it
There's
has
no
to
way
be.
that Sonic is not.
Yeah.
It's probably Sonic and Sonic 2. I bet.
Another big one's Mortal Kombat. I'm sure that's big.
Yeah. So Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Disney's Aladdin,
Oh
Really?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Sonic and Knuckles. And
Yeah.
Sonic
So
and-
like
So it's all Sonic.
And then NBA Jam.
Oh, yeah,
Nice.
that's for us.
Mortal
Mortal-
Kombat 2
2 is
comes in
six.
close. Yeah, so like two very important games, Mortal Kombat 2 and Street Fighter 2 Special Championship Edition, come in 6th and 7th place, respectively. The reason that Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic and Knuckles are treated as one is probably because they had like this, like they had a weird system where like you could put, like you could plug in two games at the same time or something like that, and then like for some it was pretty limited, but like it would combine them or something like that. So like the and Knuckles meme comes from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles,
And Sonic.
which is the idea that like you plugged Sonic and Knuckles into Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and it turned Sonic the Hedgehog 3 into Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles.
Yeah.
So that's like if you've seen the meme of like this and Knuckles, it's
Yeah,
like
it's from that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
from that.
I guess those are big ones. Phantasy Star 2, 3, and 4. Golden Axe.
X-Men.
X-Men. Altered Beast is pretty great too.
Yeah, Altered Beast is on here.
Altered
too.
Beast was great. Mortal Kombat, obviously, we said.
Mrs.
Mrs.
Pac-Man. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Were there? There's one big Genesis one I'm forgetting.
Genesis.
Altered Beast. Sonic Spinball.
Jurassic Park, NFL '98, Sonic Spinball.
Was the Genesis the console that instigated the yearly release of football games every
Yeah.
year?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
We've had what, a football game every year for like the last 30 years.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't get old.
the next thing is
Super NES.
Yeah, the SNES.
Yeah. One of the greatest consoles of all time.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's nothing
there's
really-
there's not much else to say other than
I mean,
that.
Yeah, I mean, most of the ones we're going to say are obvious. Super Metroid, Zelda, A Link to the Past,
Super Mario World.
Super Castlevania 4.
Yeah.
Unfortunately...
Wait, which console was
You have Super Mario. Yeah.
I-
So number 1, Super Mario World.
Mhm.
Super Mario All Stars.
which is like the collection?
Donkey Kong Country, which
Oh, I forgot to mention
Revamped,
Donkey Kong
yeah.
Country. Yeah,
Super Mario Kart,
not surprised.
Street Fighter 2,
The
World
World
Warrior,
Warrior. And then Donkey Kong Country 2, Zelda Link to the Past, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's
You already
Island.
said Final Fantasy. F-Zero, I don't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, again, I'm just going to say on a blanket thing, even if we don't mention Final Fantasy, pretty much everything from the SNES, I guess from the NES on, is a blanket Final Fantasy was on that platform. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's on everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Although it was on Nintendo consoles until the PS1, I
Yeah,
think.
but like in terms of if there is each generation we talk about, Final Fantasy gets a shout out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right.
And then I already said it, but yeah, Super Metroid. Oh, and Star Fox.
Yeah.
Star Fox is a great one too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see Star Fox.
Oh yeah.
Super.
Star Fox was like pushing 3D graphics before 3D graphics.
Yeah, it's insane. What else is there?
Super Mario RPG.
Unfortunately, there's no Metal Gear game to shout out.
Nope.
So,
But you started it out anyway.
Oh, Mega Man.
Oh yeah,
Mega
yeah.
Man.
Mega Man X is on the top 50.
Final Fight.
I'm pretty sure there was also a port of Prince of Persia on that console too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
The original Prince
yeah.
of Persia.
Mega Man X is really good. X2 is better, and I haven't beaten any of the other ones. The original Mega Man series is too hard for me.
Yeah, I mean.
All right. So that's fourth generation. Let's I gotta mention that.
Is the Sega CD on here?
Sega CD was in it. Okay, so we forgot to mention that the CD and the 32X were add-ons to the Genesis. So go ahead and let's mention them now. This Genesis conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CD.
Sonic CD.
I got to rep Hideo Kojima here.
Oh, no.
Snatcher is one of his earlier games.
Snatcher.
Post Metal Gear 1 and 2, pre Metal Gear Solid. It is one of the rarest and most expensive video games. Is the North American Sega CD release
Yeah.
because it was at the tail end of the lifespan. But it's a really great game. Most people have just pirated it because it's like $800 a copy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Great game.
Atari Panther that was canceled and it was supposed to be released in 1991.
Yeah. I think it's most of the major ones for CD, and in the 32X, I think the only major game for the 32X was Doom, like a port of Doom. Yeah.
There's
32X
also-
CD.
Sorry.
Oh,
I was
you
gonna
said-
say there's supposed to be an SNES CD.
Yeah, do you know what the story about that?
No.
The SNES
Oh, this
CD
is
was they
the-
were working with Sony to make a CD attachment.
Oh yeah.
And
Deal
this
with-
is what made the PS1 happen.
Yeah, the deal ended up not going through, so Sony just said, "We'll take the material we made for you and just made it the PS1."
Yeah.
Well, the story
Biggest
is
mistake they made.
that Nintendo was supposed to go on stage and announce it, and then they announced their deal with somebody else.
Panasonic, I think.
Yeah, it was like Panasonic, and this was like for the N64.
Did Panasonic trying to make their own?
They did. They had the CDI.
Yeah.
And it was garbage.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they had those like
Yikes.
that's what those Nintendo
Well, it's
ports
because
come from.
they ended up not making the system, and
Yeah.
so through that deal, Panasonic was able to make an unlicensed version of like 3 Zelda games and 1 Mario game, and they are garbage. They are awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some of the I've seen some of the animation from the Zelda ones, and it's
Okay.
like some of the worst stuff you've ever seen.
And like it's like that weird YouTube trash you'll find at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Of just like really bad animation
Oh
and
my
yeah,
God.
it's like that.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So here's so
wait.
so
where's,
that's
we
a
need
good.
to talk about the N64 and the Saturn and the
What?
PlayStation.
Yeah.
Oh, you skipped
You
to
skip
like
the 5th generation.
yeah
Oh.
you missed the 4th.
No, we just did the 4th.
Just did the fourth.
Oh wait. Oh
It's
yeah.
the
We have
fifth.
to go to the 5th.
Just I know my stuff here, man.
Well, I was
That's
gonna say this is a good segue. So the SNES was a good segue to the 5th generation.
The N64?
Yeah.
No, the Sega. We have to talk about the Sega Saturn first.
Saturn didn't get its due, and it's mostly because
This is Sega's downfall.
well, it's because Sega before they put out the Saturn, it was like, here's the 32X, here's the CD, and everybody was like, this is way too much stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and the Saturn, they made the mistake of like, we're announcing it and it's out right now.
Yeah. With
That's
no
it.
Sonic game, it didn't launch with one, did it?
Sonic R has a great soundtrack and is not the worst game ever made.
But did it launch with that game?
Probably not.
Yeah. So I think it's like it's the only one that didn't launch with a Sonic game.
Let's
Okay. So then.
so
It's
so
not
can
counting
you
the
pull
Genesis
up, Can you
add-ons.
pull up the top selling Saturn games just so I
Yeah.
know?
And again, Kojima shout out, Police Knots. Great game for that system.
Police Knots.
Police Knots.
Then you had obviously you
Nights
had
in the Dreams.
you had the Pippin game that Apple.
Is
I mean,
Nights
Pippin
into
console.
is Nights into Dreams a Sega Saturn game or is it a?
It's a Saturn game. Yeah. That and then the Panzer Dragoon series, iconic.
I've
This
always
one-
wanted to try Nights into Dreams. I just never got around to it.
This one also, I think, is listed.
I liked that they always had those like weird Nights into Dreams crossovers with Sonic.
Why isn't that character in Smash?
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
He'd fit the aesthetic.
Is
What-
it a he?
what
I'm not
if-
even sure if it is.
I think
Oh.
like the lead characters.
So,
Yeah, okay.
Virtua Fighter 2.
For Saturn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sega Rally, Virtua Fighter, Virtua Cop, and then Fighter Megamix. Fighters Megamix. Yeah.
Is Sonic R on here?
Um,
If Sonic R is not here, I'm
Super
gonna
Robot
be
Wars.
sad.
It's not in the top five.
Grandia is here. Oh, Shin Megami Tensei Double Summoner is on here. Dang.
I don't see Sonic.
Poor
R.
Sonic R. Sonic R is a decent racing game.
X-Men
It's one of the
Show.
only like on foot racing games you'll ever find.
I gotta get myself a Saturn. It's like one of the only consoles I don't have.
Why?
I just don't have it yet.
Oh,
He just collects consoles.
Yeah.
that's cool.
And because I like playing games on the original hardware.
Sonic Jam.
Which is part of the reason why I know so much about all
Sonic
this.
Jam.
Yeah. That's on here.
I know my Sonic games and I don't remember.
Oh, there's
which one
Sonic
that
R.
is. Oh, it's the 605th best-selling Sega Saturn game.
Oof.
Big oof. The downfall of Sonic before the downfall of Sonic.
So
Anyways,
Sonic has always been on the downfall.
that is false.
Except
Anyways.
still, why are they making a movie?
Good question.
Furries.
Not furries. Money is the
Oh, yeah.
real answer.
All right, so here's
the
so
PlayStation. Is,
So Sony's like, you know what? We'll make our own thing,
Yeah.
and then people are like, what? This major electronics company is gonna make its own video game
The
console?
first competitor,
Yeah.
real competitor to Sega and Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it brought game prices down hard because CDs were so much easier to produce.
And putting it on a cartridge.
Yeah.
Right.
Which
Yeah,
is
so-
also part of the downfall of, because Sega was already on the downfall, but Nintendo was still riding high. This also really affected the N64 because they were
Oh,
still
yeah.
on cartridges.
The N64 did not do very well.
All right, so
Best song. Final Fantasy VII is number 2.
What's
Gran
number one?
Gran Turismo,
Gran
Gran
Turismo? Yeah, makes sense.
Gran Turismo 2, Tekken 3, and then Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Really?
Yeah, Harry Potter and
Really?
the Philosopher's Stone
I
sold
wouldn't have expected that.
8 million
I
copies.
think I played the GameCube version of that game.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Or maybe that was
Crash Bandicoot's
Prisoner of
number
Azkaban.
8.
okay, Crash Bandicoot's a big one. Spyro.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, you're like-
It's,
I was gonna
it's
say-
number 10.
Uh-huh.
You know I had to say it, but Metal Gear Solid 1. My favorite game of all time.
Hmm.
Next to the
Gear.
third game, but we'll talk about that when we get to a later console.
Solid.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 came out on the system.
Rayman.
They're great. Rayman's great.
Spyro.
What other ones?
Spyro.
Resident Evil, you said.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 3 sold more than the original.
Crash Bash. Spider-Man, the game. Twisted Metal 2.
Spider-Man.
Oh, Twisted Metal 1 and 2 are great.
Namco
Yeah.
Museum.
Medal of Honor. There's a lot of them. Need for Speed High Stakes.
Tomb Raider.
Yeah, so how could I forget Tomb Raider?
Yeah, Tomb Raider was up there.
Tomb
Grand Theft
Raider
Auto,
has been forgettable for a
Grand Theft
while
Auto
now.
2.
Not that the games aren't great, although I haven't played them, like the recent reboot.
Devil Dice.
But like the series has become so much of an afterthought. It's kind of like one of those like Assassin's Creed level games that's just like you don't talk about
It's
it
just
anymore.
the obligatory fall release.
It comes out every 3 years. Like Crystal Dynamics is absolutely still working on another
Yeah.
Tomb Raider game right now.
It does well enough to keep making them, but it doesn't
Yeah.
do huge numbers.
Yeah.
I think the biggest ones for me, at least for the PS1, I mean, it has an all-star lineup, but Metal Gear Solid 1, the Resident Evil PS1 trilogy, Twisted Metal 1 and 2, and I think the third one came out on there, Castlevania Symphony of the
Yeah.
Night, and I'm pretty sure...
Dang it, Konami.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all the major ones.
I'm still mad that they didn't put Symphony of the Night on the PS1
It's
Classic.
probably more of a Sony thing than it is a Konami thing.
Well, they released like a collection recently on the PS4 or something. Anyways, let's move
The
on
Apple
to...
Bondi Pippin.
Okay, that's... And we didn't
Yeah,
mention
you've
it,
told
but-
this story on the Catacast.
There's nothing really to mention in terms of the library because it's like a library of like 14 games, but this console, I'm sure we talked about it in like the Catacast, but this system was essentially Apple used the classic Mac OS and made a deal with it. It was Namco at the time, no, Bandai at the
Yeah,
time, because
Bandai.
Namco and Bandai merged.
Yeah.
With Bandai at the time to create a game console using the Mac platform. It was ridiculously expensive for the time compared to other consoles. It was basically just a PC that had a game controller. Wasn't very intuitive and had a very tiny library. Now, I've wanted to get one for collector's sake, but the US models are so expensive. You can only find the Japanese models, and even then they're expensive.
Dang.
But yeah, it's and for a console that was not great and has barely a library, it's not worth it for that price. It's
Yeah.
like $800 on eBay, and that's even if you can find it being sold.
Right.
Yeah.
The Nintendo.
The only major one that was on the platform of the Bandai Pippin
Mm.
was Bungie's Marathon trilogy. They bundled the first two together as Super Marathon on
Whoa.
Pippin.
Dang,
The third game wasn't out yet.
I didn't know that. Nintendo 64.
I did it.
As the-
Nintendo 64.
The progenitor of 3D platforming,
First-person shooters on consoles. that is.
first-person shooters on consoles.
So we had Super Mario 64,
Obvious.
Mario Kart 64,
Obvious.
GoldenEye 007,
Very obvious.
The Legend of Zelda,
Obvious.
Which one?
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time. And then Super Smash Bros. number 5.
Yeah.
Pretty obvious lineup of top 5.
Smash
so
Bros. 64, great. Ocarina of Time, probably the progenitor for action adventure games.
Yeah.
One of the best ones.
like that lineup is legendary.
Legendary.
Like that lineup defines video games.
Yeah.
Like, if anybody asked, like, what's, like, aliens come to Earth and ask, what's a video game? You give them Ocarina of Time. They're
Yeah.
like,
You
this
give
is
them
what you
Ocarina.
play.
You give them the Nintendo 64 and you give them like those 5 games and you're like there.
Yeah,
play those.
these are what you play.
Like these will cover you on what video games
Yeah.
are.
And then you
Except
have
for RPGs, it doesn't really give
Yeah.
you.
Star Fox 64,
Great game.
Pokemon Stadium. Donkey
Probably
Kong
the last
64.
time that Star Fox was actually great.
Ooh.
Yeah, honestly, you're probably right. Hey, the GameCube one wasn't half bad.
And then from Rare again.
I've literally never played an actual Star Star
Banjo-
Fox game all the way through. So I have no
Banjo
idea.
Kazooie.
Yeah, that's more of a
People love
cult
it.
favorite. Yeah. Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yeah.
Great
Star
game.
Wars Episode 1 Racer.
Speaking of Star Wars, Shadow of the Empire. I think it's
Yeah,
Shadow
Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah, great
Is it
game.
good?
It's about Dash Rendar, who is like basically a knockoff Han Solo, and it tied in with a novel that told the Force story. So it was like the novel, a limited run comic book miniseries, and this video game were all part of a larger ongoing story. That was pretty much George Lucas testing the waters for like an interquel between Empire and Jedi.
Neat.
Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
Great game.
People, I think that's the more beloved one.
The one on GameCube I think is the most beloved one. Yeah, that was a great game.
Wave Race 64.
Never played.
Hey You.
No, that's on GameCube.
Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards.
Never played it.
Um,
Probably decent.
Mario Golf. Kobe Bryant.
They really overdid it with Mario games on this console.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Jet
they
Force-
usually overdo it, but this is where it starts. to-
Pilot Wings 64,
64.
Jet Force Gemini,
Namco Museum 64.
F-Zero X.
Yeah. That's,
One of the last F-Zero games.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
solid-
because there's only one more after this. Yeah.
solid lineup though. But yeah.
So I think that's it.
Would
for...
you say Metal Gear Solid lineup? Okay.
Sorry,
Sorry, just had
it's just
to.
gonna be every console is just Metal Gear.
Even if it doesn't have a Metal Gear, it's still gonna get
it's
a
still
reference.
gonna somehow be tied back to Metal Gear.
Alright, the Nintendo 64 DD.
That actually, I don't think came out in the States, just Japan.
Oh.
It was a disc drive for the Nintendo 64. No games were released on it, but they did have some prototypes.
Wait,
Such a shame.
6th generation, boys.
Here we
The
go.
The
This
death
is-
of Sega.
So this
Yeah.
is where I start. Like this is where I started on video games.
Yeah.
Was
I started
like,
with the 7th, but I've gone back and played a ton of 6th
Yeah.
gen games.
I had a GameCube.
We're
growing
moving
up.
pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dreamcast.
good.
The
Yeah.
death of Sega.
Yeah.
Poor Dreamcast.
We forgot a 5th generation one. We
Yeah.
forgot the Atari Jaguar.
Well, we did that.
The Jaguar?
Is there anything to talk about?
Atari
No, we didn't.
Jaguar.
we
Yeah,
didn't
we,
talk
you said the
about
Atari Panther. We didn't talk about
Oh,
the Jaguar.
the Jaguar. Yeah, we forgot that.
Yeah,
one.
the Jaguar. The main thing to mention, it was the last Atari console before its downfall. So that is pretty important.
Yeah.
The downfall of Atari.
Atari.
And it had a really great Alien vs Predator game before the movies came out, and then the movie tie-ins for the game tie-ins for the movies were garbage. But this one was before the movies. It's pretty great.
Nice.
It's actually pretty hard to get your hands on it, but great game.
Physical media.
And I think it had a great port of Doom as well. But then again, every console has a port of Doom.
Let's skip to like the last Atari thing because I don't want to talk more about Atari.
Well, I mean that Jaguar is the last one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It's the downfall
So
of Atari.
Dreamcast, give me
The
the
downfall of Dreamcast, the downfall of Sega.
Yeah, what a shame.
Yeah.
PlayStation.
Dreamcast was a pretty great system.
Yeah, look up the top
So,
five.
yeah.
I'll bet you
It's-
number one on the Dreamcast is like it's gonna be at least not number one, but like up there. Crazy Taxi, whatever the Sonic game was.
Sonic
that came out.
Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2.
Oh, yeah. So Sonic Adventure, NBA 2K or NBA 2K.
Resident Evil Code Veronica. Jet Set Radio.
Is this
Yeah.
Jet Set Radio on there.
is,
I can't
is Kotaku gonna not be helpful here?
remember. Kotaku's always not being helpful.
Hey, that's mean.
Inside Gaming
cool.
for the win.
What?
Inside Gaming for the win. Inside Gaming is the best.
Oh wow! All right, so
Alright.
NFL 2K.
Oh my goodness.
NFL 2K1. What? Or no?
Oh, so that was the start of the 2K series?
Yeah. Super Adventure. Sonic Adventure 2K. NBA 2K. NBA 2K1. Crazy Taxi.
No, Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur. Shinomi.
Shenmue and RE Code Veronica.
Ready?
Yeah. RE Code Veronica is pretty good. I played the PS2 like version of it, but Code Veronica is a great game. It's like the real Resident Evil 3.
Nice.
Even though I like Resident Evil 3.
All right. Yeah. Sonic Adventure.
Shenmue, great
Yeah.
too.
Oh yeah.
Dated but great.
They're making a Shenmue 3.
Yeah, I don't know how, but they are.
Probably not gonna happen.
Probably
Probably
won't
gonna
happen.
fall into Last Guardian development hell.
No, does it have a release date already? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The PlayStation 2.
The most, I think it's still to date the
Yeah.
highest selling console of all
highest selling
time.
console. Because it was a DVD player first.
Yeah, it's kids would be like, no, the parents wanted the DVD player, and kids would be like, can we get the PS2? It has a DVD player,
Uh-huh.
and that's how they got away with it.
That's how they got away with it, dude.
Uh,
all right, so
Like
now-
even hotels would buy PS2s, and they'd be like the DVD player in the room.
I'm going to I'm going to commit Sawyerism here. Kingdom Hearts.
It's like I thus decree that Kingdom Hearts.
This is the beginning of Kingdom Hearts, even though it's probably not on here.
all right,
on
so
this
best selling. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Wait.
Yeah, makes sense.
Gran
Turismo
3.
A
spec.
spec.
Gran Turismo 4. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Final Fantasy 8.
Final Fantasy 10.
10.
Excuse me.
Because I thought 8 was a PS1.
Yeah,
Oh.
PS1. 8 is the PS1 game after 7.
Grand Theft Auto 3. Metal Gear Solid 2.
Sons of Liberty.
Final Fantasy
that
11.
game, okay, yeah,
Which
it's
one?
great. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's Metal Gear. It's gotta be great.
Metal Gear.
Not as good as the third game though, so I'm surprised it ranks higher than 3.
Tekken 5. Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, Kingdom Hearts is on the first Kingdom Hearts game. Nice.
Yeah. God of War.
Makes sense.
Dragon Quest. Journey of the
8.
First King. I don't know how to read Roman numerals. Had an NFL 2005. God of War 2. Jack and Daxter.
Oh, great game.
Really?
Yeah, Jack and Daxter's great. It's one of Naughty Dog's earlier efforts.
It's the precursor legacy. Is that
That's the first one.
okay?
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 10-2.
So the way that Final Fantasy games typically work out like their sequels and stuff, if it's a direct sequel to a mainline Final Fantasy game, it is
Dash
for
number.
instance like dash number. So like like if it's just a number, another like Roman numerals number, that means it's like a different like timeline cast. But like if it's 10-2, that means it's direct sequel to 10.
The PS2 has one of the greatest lineups of all time.
Oh my
period.
gosh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though we
Kingdom
said
Hearts
some of them
2 is on this.
Kingdom Hearts, Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. You don't have to say it.
Ratchet.
Dawn of War 1 and 2. Ratchet and Clank.
Jack and Daxter.
Jack and Daxter 1, 2, and 3.
Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater.
Snake
Sly,
Eater.
Sly
Snake
Cooper.
Eater is great.
Sly Cooper.
Sly Cooper.
Need for Speed.
I'm pretty Twisted Metal Black.
Medal of Honor.
Need for Speed.
Need for Speed.
Guitar Hero 2. Guitar
Call
Hero
of
2.
Duty 1, I believe, came out on PS2.
Yeah.
The Guitar Hero series.
Ratchet.
Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is a great game.
The Gateway, Ratchet and Clank going Commando.
Resident Evil 4.
Spider-Man.
Well, I guess Resident Evil 4 is more of a GameCube game, but Resident Evil 4, big, huge.
Spider-Man 2 is probably more legendary.
Then what?
Than the first Spider-Man game.
Lego Star
Lego
Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah. Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Oh, Battlefront 2 is so good.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Sonic Unleashed was on this console. I forgot about that.
A lot of these ones for the 6th generation are
Yeah.
going to be like repeated because
So-
they're on everything.
So let's
RE4.
Oh,
Oh, Resident Evil 4
RE4 is
is-
legendary,
yeah.
man. Yeah.
I just mentioned that one, man. Oh, you
Yeah.
guys didn't hear me, yeah. Okay.
Max
Oh,
Payne.
Devil May Cry.
Wait, I-
Devil May Cry is great. Max Payne 1 and 2 were great. Yeah.
We're probably not going to be able to talk about it later. So, do you like? Devil May Cry 5 looks fantastic.
Oh, we'll talk about
So-
when we get to PS4.
But it's not going to be listed.
Sonic
On high
Heroes.
selling, but we can still mention
Sonic
it.
Heroes. Is
I've been
better than
mentioning ones
most
that aren't
people give it
necessarily
credit.
on there.
Devil May Cry.
Evil Dead Regeneration is
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
or Degeneration.
So
And Fistful of
let's let's move on because we could list PS2 games for
Yeah.
days. I think we've given you a pretty good list of PS2 games to play.
Yeah. Is it Xbox or GameCube next?
GameCube.
GameCube.
The GameCube is
November 14th, 2011, and Xbox was released November 15th,
Alright.
2001, sorry, 2001.
So Xbox, no, GameCube, right?
Yeah, GameCube
Yeah.
was 2001. November
GameCube
14th. But like, what I'm
is-
trying to say is it was released the Xbox, Xcube. The Xbox was released the day after.
Okay. So Xbox, oh no, keep getting screwed. GameCube, Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda: Twilight
Awesome.
Princess,
awesome.
Smash Brothers Melee.
It has survived for way too long.
What other ones we got? Mario Sunshine, arguably is great.
Nah, I think most people would say it's a great game.
Yeah,
it's just not as good as the other
so
ones.
top 5 best selling: Super Smash Bros. Melee,
Yeah.
Mario Kart Double Dash,
Pretty great. I that was my childhood.
Super Mario Sunshine, The
Didn't
Legend of
play it.
Zelda: Wind Waker. You just said
Pretty
I
great
guess.
game.
Luigi's Mansion,
People love it.
Animal Crossing,
People love it.
Metroid Prime,
Oh, Metro Prime is so good.
Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, Paper Mario.
The remake of Resident Evil 1, big one too.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 0.
Sonic Mega Collection,
Metro Prime 2.
Sonic Mega Collection is a great collection.
Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, Resident Evil. You said 0.
Yeah.
Pokemon
Yeah,
Coliseum
the
is people love it.
Naruto Clash of Ninja 2. I want to play your Naruto games.
Oh, there was one other major one.
I,
forgetting.
Soul-
you just
Soul
gotta
Calibur?
find a time to
Soul
come
Calibur.
over, man. I don't know what else
The other one.
to
There was
say.
one I'm forgetting. Oh, Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes.
Oh.
The remake of the first Metal Gear Solid.
Oh.
You know what I had to say? Yeah.
Super Star Fox Adventures. Yeah.
One of the last good Star Fox games.
Pokemon.
One of the last Star Fox games, period.
Yeah, true.
They released a bunch. Soul Calibur 2 had Link in it on the GameCube version.
Yeah. And it had Spawn on the Xbox.
Also,
version.
Star Fox Assault.
Yeah, pretty good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
F-Zero GX, RIP F-Zero.
Yeah.
Naruto Clash of Ninja 2 comes in
I
at
think the-
32.
I'm just surprised at how calm we're being on this one. It's not us arguing about games. Just like, yeah, it's good.
Oh yeah. I just like.
I mean,
these are
I think
some of the
we don't
greatest.
tend to argue about video games very much.
No, we're usually pretty uniform.
I don't think
but-
any of us have played the same video games.
But yeah, it's-
I haven't really played a lot of these. Which is, but I mean,
I mean, it pretty much wraps up the most major GameCube games.
Yeah. Yeah, the major GameCube games were the best-selling GameCube games.
Xbox.
Xbox. I mean, the first right out the gate, we got to say Halo.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
Halo, yeah,
Yeah.
what-
Xbox.
Some
Halo. I mean, that's
some
just-
Halo game was the. I think it probably would have been.
It's Halo 2. It's easily
Yeah.
Halo 2 is the highest selling game on the system.
Really?
Yeah, there is no way Halo 2 is not the best selling game on that console.
Grand Theft Auto 5. Or
It's not.
Oh,
Sorry, I was
No,
like,
Grand Theft
look up
Auto.
original Xbox
Oh,
games
yeah.
because it'll get confused with Xbox One.
I was like, wait a minute. This is-
yeah, I should have. Oh, I spelled original wrong.
You want to bet it's Halo CE or is
It's
it
Halo 2. There's
Halo
no
2?
way it's not Halo 2. The
I'm
multiplayer
gonna
alone
bet
of
on
that
Halo
game
2 as well.
put it over.
Oh, these aren't best selling. These are just best ever.
I mean, Halo 2 is also up there in best ever.
Yeah.
but-
A Fable?
Fable's great. Underrated.
Here we go.
Underrated.
We
Why
found
is
it. We
Oh,
found
I haven't
it.
heard of Halo
Yep,
2.
Halo 2.
Yeah.
Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell.
No, that's a great game. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Halo-
Anything with the Tom Clancy name is usually pretty good.
I didn't know he was an author.
Yeah.
I was kind
He's been an author right before he died. He's been an author since like the 60s.
Yeah. Halo Combat Evolved.
Great game.
Fable.
Great game.
Project Gotham Racing.
Never played it.
I have no idea. Is it literally just like a Batman universe?
Oh, it's
racing
not.
game?
It's not Batman related. I looked it up at one point. It has nothing to do with Batman. It's not even DC related.
Yeah, it's just a racing game.
It's just a racing game.
Weird.
Grand Theft Auto Double Pack.
Yeah, I think
KOTOR,
it had 3 in Vice City. I'm pretty sure.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Both of those games, fantastic.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if it's gonna be on here. Star Wars Republic Commando was great.
Really?
You guys play that one?
Is that the
No,
one
I-
that was like during the prequels and it was like a
Oh,
shooter?
You played as
That was
a.
good.
It was a first-person squad-based shooter.
Oh, I didn't play that.
Yeah, that was.
For you played as like an elite group of clones, and it was during the Clone Wars. It was a great.
I
game.
I really want to play a lot of these.
It's backwards compatible on Xbox One now. So.
Dang.
Nice.
Counter Strike, obviously classic.
Legendary,
Half-Life-
mostly on the
I
PC.
think Half-Life 2 was on Xbox.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden's a great
Gaiden.
game. It's ridiculously difficult though.
Really?
I would be surprised if the main character from Ninja Gaiden doesn't end up in Smash at some point, because the original games were on NES. So makes sense.
The big yawn. Call of Duty 2, Big
Yeah.
red
the
one.
start of the Call of Duty.
Dead or Alive 3. I don't know if you guys have played that. Star Wars Battlefront, Star Wars
Haven't
Battlefront
played
2.
the DLCs.
Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon.
Yeah, Ghost Recon's good.
Need for Speed Underground.
Yeah.
yeah.
But like
yeah.
most of the ones that are like what we're gonna be mentioning probably will be the exclusives for like the 6th generation,
Yeah.
because the PS2 was most known for the third parties.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna mention something on GameCube or Xbox, it's just be Halo and Zelda mainly,
Just go watch Kingdom Hearts 2.
or Metal Gear Solid.
Alright, so I think that's it for.
That's it for the
Yep.
6th gen. I
Except if
think.
you guys wanted to talk about the Panasonic M2 that never got
the
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Alright,
Alright, let's move on to the 7th generation. This is-
Xbox 360 was the
This is
first
where
one out the door.
Yeah.
is this-
Xbox
did you start on the 360?
No, I started on the Wii, but I know about the 360. Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, let's.
Sonic 06,
No.
not a good video game.
Yeah. I'll bet the best-selling 360 game is either it's either a Call of Duty game, Grand Theft Auto 4 or 5, or Halo 3.
You are wrong.
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Wait. It's not a Call of Duty game?
Yeah. It's Connect Adventures.
Screw that game. Screw Connect Adventures.
24
Connect
What-
Adventures.
What's the highest selling real video game?
24. Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft
5.
Auto.
You
Okay.
don't get to define what's a real video game.
You
Sire.
want to defend Connect Adventures?
No, I
Hey,
don't.
it's-
but it is still the best-selling video game.
24
Okay.
million.
Well.
Halo 3. That's the third.
Yeah. Okay. So I was basically right.
You're basically right.
Well, no, GTA 5 is the.
I'm
is-
still basically right. I said a GTA, a Call of Duty, or Halo 3.
Elder Scrolls
Okay.
5, Skyrim.
Oh,
Skyrim,
yeah.
great game.
13.
And then.
Minecraft. Xbox 360 edition.
I mean, this
I
console
was-
was around for over a decade, so it's kind of hard to list
I
everything.
was expecting Black Ops to be number 1 and it was number 5. Halo 4 is number 6.
Halo 4 is like the last hurrah of good Halo games.
Yeah. Call of Duty.
What, you didn't like 5?
No. Gameplay was alright, story sucked.
I guess if you put all of your cards into story, then
I do. I don't
Modern
play
Warfare
multiplayer.
2.
Modern Warfare 2 is so
it's
good.
legendary.
Is it better than Black Ops?
Oh, that's like picking a favorite kid, man. That's hard.
Gears of War.
Gears of War is very
One and
visibly
two.
dated. The second one's better. I would recommend that if you're gonna play those games, you play them with a partner because they're designed from the ground up for co-op.
Co-op.
Yeah.
I always, me and some friends were talking about making like a co-op thing happening. But
Gears Halo 3,
Halo Reach.
Halo Reach, and I don't know if it'll mention it on the highest selling. Halo 3 ODST, which was like a standalone, like single player game.
Yeah, it does. It has it's 3 million copies though.
ODST is actually probably my favorite Halo game, and despite it not starring Master Chief,
Yeah.
it's the soundtrack alone is great.
This has such an expansive library.
my
Batman,
goodness.
Arkham City,
Yeah, that's a great one.
Grand Theft Auto 6. No. That's
Not
not
out
It's
yet.
4. It's
Yeah, I was gonna say like
Um,
it doesn't exist.
Call of Duty. Maybe.
Oh.
Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare.
Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah. Fable 2.
Fable 2, Fable 3,
Yeah. Gears of War 3.
Star Wars: The Force Unleashed 1 and 2.
Connect Sports.
Assassin's Creed. It's a big one.
All of them essentially were pretty
Yeah.
much on that system.
Oh, Marvel Ultimate Alliance is on this.
Yeah.
Saints Row.
Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
Or we just list. We're gonna like. I mean, we don't have to
We've
go
gone
straight
through
off of
so
that.
many.
Yeah.
Mass Effect series.
Rainbow
the
Six.
whole
is on
trilogy.
here.
Rainbow Six Vegas was great.
Fallout.
Fallout.
Bioshock. That was a good one.
Resident Evil 5.
Gears of War 3 was pretty good too.
Yeah.
Judgment not so much, but 3
Wait,
was
so
great.
why? So was Tom Clancy like a? Was he an action?
He-
author?
This is
Yeah, he
such a-
wrote. I'm surprised you don't know about him.
Yeah, I don't
He,
know as much.
He was a spy author. He wrote all. You know about Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
He wrote all those books like Hunt for Red October, Patriot Games.
So I
all
didn't
that
know they
stuff.
made like a lot of games.
Oh,
based
that
off
was
of
him.
Well, yeah, he wrote all the Jack Ryan books, and then later on, after he died, a lot of the books that they still have books coming out with his name on it, but he's not actually obviously writing them.
Yeah.
Of the Jack Ryan series.
Yeah, he's become kind of a brand.
He's kind of like where you see like Stephen King Presents. It's kind of like that where
Yeah.
his name is a brand. Most of the time for these video games, he provided the very basic premise, but he had actually little to no input on any
Yeah.
of those games.
Like Tom Clancy's The Division.
Like the Division has next to nothing that's come from him.
Yeah.
Same with like Rainbow Six. Rainbow Six was actually a Jack Ryan book, and they just took the name of that team and made a video game off of it.
Yeah.
Splinter Cell, he just came up with the character of Sam Fisher and just let him have it. Like they,
Yeah.
Ghost Recon.
yeah.
Because it's Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. I don't know.
yeah. Well, not bad. I'm gonna
last-
turn my battery on. Yeah, I'm gonna turn my battery on the case here. Continue on talking. Just turning my battery case on.
Star Wars: The Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
You already mentioned.
Force
Oh,
Unleashed
yeah.
is great. Yeah.
Force Unleashed, the first one is great. The second one, not so much.
The second one had great gameplay, but the story was awful.
The story just like ended really fast.
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead.
There should have been a third one, but it's
Yeah.
Disney's fault.
Left
Dang,
4
Force
Dead.
Left 4 Dead's great.
Have you guys played
Yeah.
that?
It's a really great co-op game.
Battlefield Bad Company 2.
It's pretty good.
I've played a
Battlefield 3 is
tiny,
better.
tiny bit of it. The last thing I'll talk about Xbox 360 wise is Street Fighter 4 is kind of legendary for bringing the fighting game genre back from the dead.
And on that platform, when it the version of Soul Calibur 4 that launched on there had Yoda.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
I mean, so yeah,
it had Yoda. Didn't it also have Darth Vader?
the PS3 version had Vader, but like a couple months after release, they put it online for both consoles,
Nice.
so you could buy the other person.
Which is pretty great.
And Star Killer from Force Unleashed was on both.
Oh wow.
That's what it was.
So we're gonna move on to the PS3.
Yep.
Obviously, after Grand Theft
Yeah.
Auto
Well,
4 and 5.
Like you
Metal
want
Gear Solid 4 goes to the Patriots.
Oh, there it
I have to
is.
say it first. Metal Gear Solid 4, the perfect finale to the story, no, the saga of Solid Snake. Perfect finale.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
So I had to say.
I wanna go back to basics here really quick and say that it's a really, really botched release.
Oh yeah, the launch of the
Like,
PS3 was
is
it's not
legendarily
nearly
bad.
as bad as the Xbox One launch.
The price was still way too high.
The price was too high, but the actual launch and the handling of the launch, say what you want with the launch, at least Sony PR tried to do their best to clean it up. Microsoft PR just fumbled the entire way through it.
So GTA 4 is the best selling.
Gran
GTA
Turismo.
5 after that.
Gran Turismo. Wow, I never heard of this.
It's a pretty legendary racing game.
With the exception of the original Xbox, once I'd be interested to see actually if there is a PlayStation console since the PS2. Wait, what was the highest selling of PS2 again? GTA San Andreas, right?
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see if
Oh wait,
there's.
no. It was connected.
No, I'm talking about the PS2.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
San
It was
Andreas.
just, yeah.
The I'd be interested to see if there's a PlayStation console that will ever come out where Grand Theft Auto is not the highest grossing game on that system.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because it's been that way since it started.
Yeah.
With the exception of the PS1. But every game since Grand Theft Auto 3, if it was on a PlayStation system, it was
Yeah,
the
you're right.
highest grossing
Yeah,
game.
that's.
Yeah.
Do you guys think there'll be 6?
Oh, there will
PS
most definitely be a Grand Theft Auto 6. It's gonna be a while.
Is it gonna be with a new? Is it gonna
It'll probably be like
new PlayStation?
3-ish years into the
What?
next console.
GTA 5 came
Wow.
out 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be 2023.
Yeah.
Is the timeline on that?
The Last of Us.
Last of Us is great. Love that game.
I mean, it's a classic, right?
Infamous 1 and 2.
Uncharted 3, Uncharted 2.
The entire Uncharted, at least the trilogy that was on PS3. First one's a little bit dated graphically, but the second one is mind-boggling. It's great.
Goes to the Patriots.
Because the Patriots was great.
Um,
Little cutscene heavy, but I didn't mind it.
Yeah, you
Ba-
wouldn't.
No, I won't.
Batman Arkham City,
The Arkham Asylum too. Yeah.
God of War 3, Gran Turismo 6, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
God of War 3 is probably the most anime non-anime game I've played.
Really?
Like it's not anime, but in terms of ridiculous like
Set pieces.
just like sheer ridiculousness and set pieces and over the top voice acting is one of the most anime non-anime games I've played.
That's
Nice.
funny.
Uh,
Call of Duty Black Ops, we already saw that. Have you
God of War Ascension wasn't bad either. I mean, it was very much an unnecessary sequel, but
Right,
it
right.
wasn't bad.
I'm gonna bring Sonic back real quick and just say that Sonic Generations is a really good video game. You should play it.
Resident Evil HD remastered.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, I'm gonna. You know, people are gonna disagree with me on this, and I'm sure I'll get hate at some point for it. Resident Evil 5 is not a bad game.
Okay.
Isn't that controversial though?
It's controversial.
Is it
It's
five?
ridiculous and stupid, but Resident Evil has always been ridiculous and stupid. Come at me if you don't agree. If you disagree.
Well,
Like-
the other thing is like it's not a horror game anymore; it's an action
Yeah.
game.
The fifth game, it still had some scary stuff in it, but it was great as a co-op game, and it was very much just a natural evolution of the fourth game. Like, if people who say the fourth game is legendary and great, but don't like the fifth game, even though it's basically the same thing but in co-op,
Mhm.
I don't get it.
Devil May Cry 4 is also a video game.
Infamous.
But I do understand the hate on Resident Evil 6.
Yeah.
I enjoyed my time, but it wasn't a great game.
Sure.
Sarge's just trying to save himself right now. He's trying to save
Yeah. Okay. I agree with Resident Evil 6, but stop the hate on Resident Evil 5. Great game.
This console gave us the Killzone series, Little Big Planet, Heavy Rain,
Killzone 2 and 3 are good. No, PS2 gives us the Killzone series.
Demon Souls,
Killzone 1 was on PS2.
Wrath of the White Witch.
Ni no Kuni, Legendary JRPG. Haven't beaten it. Probably never will. But
Is it hard? Is that why?
no. It's just like I never like I started playing it and it was just like I don't know what it is, but like a Ghibli style JRPG doesn't really like suit my tastes. Like I love Ghibli stuff, but it's just like that style was like Studio Ghibli like worked on
Yeah.
like the design for this game and it just didn't like click for
We're
me.
gonna have to rattle off a little bit more because we're already at almost 2 hours. We got
Yeah.
another whole generation to
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So actually we've given the PS3 its due.
Yeah.
Let's
I think that's most of the major PS3 games.
The
anyway.
Well, we have to Wii. We have
Oh,
to.
yeah,
the
yeah.
Wii Sports is obviously the top selling one.
Do we even need to go through the top selling anymore? Now we're this close, or do we want to
Yeah.
just do the major ones?
Let's
Because
just do the major ones.
after the Wii, we don't know the top selling of the 8th generation because
Yeah.
it's not over yet.
Yeah, so the Wii
Wii Sports.
Wii Sports,
We
Wii
Smash.
Music,
Smash Brawl,
Mario Kart.
Super Mario Galaxy
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Yeah. Galaxy
Mario
1
Party 8.
is awesome. I haven't beaten Galaxy 2.
Me neither.
In terms of best selling, though.
Twilight Princess is also on this, and it's
New
great.
Super Mario Brothers Wii.
Wii Fit.
Yeah.
Mario Kart Wii. Even though it wasn't my cup of tea in terms of like iconic games from the era, Just Dance is a big deal.
Yes.
All of the Lego games on that platform.
Twilight Princess.
Zelda Skyward Sword too.
So
Yeah.
so 14 and 15, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games and Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games.
Mhm.
The first Olympic Games game is fine. The Olympic Winter Games is awesome. Like
Yeah.
thumbs up, play it.
Do you
It's
think we'll get
really
another
great.
one? When's the next? Where the next Winter Games going to be at? Is it Korea? I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll get one
Yeah,
for
it's
the
Korea.
next Winter Games?
I'd be okay with it on
Yeah.
the Switch. Yeah, sure, why not?
Probably won't happen.
Probably
Uh,
not gonna happen.
Well, okay, well.
Given we haven't had a Mario and Sonic Olympic Games.
Resident Evil:
Game in
The
a while.
Umbrella Chronicles.
Not bad. It's a very different game, but I mean, for what it is, it's fine.
Metroid Prime 3 Corruption.
Great. And then we have to mention the opposite spectrum of great. Okay, so the spectrum of Metroid games on the Wii, you have great with Metroid Prime 3, and you have not so great with Other M. Yeah, Other M.
Poor Other M.
What is it? What is that like?
It was the
Metroid
Ninja Theory game that
They
got
managed-
everything wrong.
Yeah, it didn't understand what Metroid really was.
Dang.
Yeah. Also, there are some problematic issues with how they handled Samus,
Yeah.
but that's a whole other thing.
Samus they made into like an idealized female heroine rather than
She's
like,
basically
a-
Captain Marvel in that game.
Yeah.
Except
So-
like
Except, imagine like
Except
exactly how
lame.
the trailers of Captain Marvel look, except lamer, and she has everything she does is dictated by Nick Fury.
What?
and
Yeah.
and she's like sexualized in a really disgusting manner.
Yeah. Despite the fact that her outfit from that will still make it in the Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter anyway.
Yeah.
All right,
Um,
so this is interesting. So I mean, we've pretty much said everything for the
for the Wii, that's pretty much all the major.
for the Wii. And then we can move on. This,
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
so
we're
let's-
forgetting about the garbage onslaught of the like bargain bin games that came out on the Wii.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The frickin-
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
But
So
here-
let's move on to the Wii U.
So, so it's interesting because like I feel like every generation has had like the sort of bad consoles that came out but nobody really played them, except for the 8th generation, because the 8th generation just has a solid lineup. So, am I
So
wrong
the
with
Wii U
consoles?
is that bad console.
Well, it is that bad, but it's still part of the.
I mean, the
Yeah.
lineup of games on it were still
yeah.
stellar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Nintendo exclusives on Wii U are great. Those were the only games.
So
though.
are we starting with Wii U?
Yeah.
Okay. Bayonetta 2 was a great game.
Haven't played Bayonetta 2. I will say Smash 4 is awesome. You can actually look up the best-selling games on
Sure,
that one
so the-
because
Because it's over. Yeah.
Um,
The HD remake of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess.
so yeah, Wind Waker HD is one of my favorite video games of all time. Twilight Princess HD is not as good as that, but it's still great.
Hyrule Warriors.
Hyrule Warriors is fine.
So top selling,
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8,
Not surprised.
Pretty
Super
great.
Mario 3D World,
Not surprised.
Super
Pretty
Smash Bros.
Not
U,
surprised.
Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's like
Pretty great.
Because there was a 3DS version as
Oh,
well.
okay.
Yeah.
Nintendo Land,
Didn't play it.
Splatoon,
Pretty great.
Super
Or
Mario.
actually, I haven't played it.
Super Mario Maker,
Pretty good.
New Super Luigi U.
What
Fine.
was the other one? Wonderful 101 wasn't that bad.
That's right.
And it was a Platinum game.
Mario
so-
Party 10.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, that's more of a Switch.
Breath
game.
of the Wild is
Yeah.
awesome.
Uh,
Pokken Tournament, pretty good Pokemon fighting game.
honestly, I don't have that many Wii U games.
Yeah, no, it's just
Yeah.
it's like it's just a very like concise.
And like any third-party
Splatoon.
games that came out on there, we already talked about in the PS3
Yeah.
and Xbox.
You could also justify buying a Wii U solely for 3D World and Wind Waker HD,
Even though most games that you would justify buying a Wii U for are now also on Switch,
except for Wind Waker HD.
which I would not be surprised if it eventually makes its way over.
I want it, but I'm not holding out hope.
Yeah. Well, they ported everything else at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so
PlayStation 4.
legendary launch, like
Yeah.
man, what a success.
Great launch.
It was on track to outpace the PS2 at
I
some
don't
point,
think
and
it's
it's
doing
not going to
anything.
happen. But yeah, pretty successful.
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Should I look up the list for
It's
this?
since it's ongoing, I don't think so. Since we don't have
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
yet.
don't worry about it.
Grand Theft Auto 5, even though that was technically a PS3 game, but Grand Theft Auto 5.
Kingdom Hearts 3 was on this console.
Yes.
Pretty great.
Infamous Second Son was a great game. I wish we had done an
Yeah,
Infamous game.
Infamous second. That's the only Infamous game I've played, and it's really good.
Killzone Shadowfall wasn't as bad as people make it seem.
Mhm.
Resident Evil 7 is great. Horizon Zero Dawn, Nier Automata.
Nier Automata is awesome.
Destiny 2.
I just wanna point out the Game of the Year, which is just the Game of the Year edition, is $40 right now,
Yeah.
and it's awesome.
Also, forgot to mention, but on the PS3, the like semi reboot, or I guess it's technically Mortal Kombat 9.
Oh,
Great
yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Um,
MK10 is on this console.
MK10's on this console, and so will 11.
Yeah.
when it comes out. Resident Evil 2 remake, even though that just came out, deserves on this list.
Tekken 7.
Tekken 7.
Tekken 7 is awesome. I haven't played it, but
I'm
like,
trying to think what else is out that's big now. I guess
Resident-
Apex Legends kind of makes this list.
yeah,
Fallout 4.
Fortnite.
Fortnite, yeah, of course.
Rocket League.
Rocket
League's a
League
great
is
game, yeah.
awesome. Yeah. I haven't played it in a while, but when I did play it, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, and the Tomb Raider reboot, was that on the, no, it was on the last console, but it still
Yeah.
came out on this one, so it still
Yeah.
counts.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of.
Tom
Oh,
Clancy.
not Mass Effect Andromeda, the greatest
Oh, Yeah. Horizon Zero Dawn.
that great game. Yeah. What other ones? Oh, the Uncharted 4. It's
Oh.
great.
Battlefield 5.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Well, actually, no. Battlefield 1 was pretty good.
Do you think
Battlefield
Last
5.
of Us 2 is gonna be a PS4 game?
I don't know. I don't know what. I think it's either that or there's some other Sony game that's supposed to come out this fall. It's either that or something else comes out this fall, because there is no like holiday season game yet for Sony to launch. We don't know what it's gonna
They're
be.
not gonna be at E3 either.
Yeah, so they've got to launch something in the fall, and I think it's
Oh,
either-
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah,
is
either
one.
Tsushima or Last of Us 2 launches in the fall. Whatever one doesn't.
So
it's gonna
did
be
you
the
hear
year
the
after.
story about that demo that they did at E3 for Ghost of Tsushima?
I didn't hear the story about that.
It's that demo that they did is a side quest.
Well, I'm looking forward to that game.
Yeah, that game looks
Yeah.
awesome.
Ghost
of Tsushima. It's a
Oh, yeah.
samurai game
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
people who
Oh, the
made
side quest?
Infamous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
that was amazing. Actually, that game might
Might
game
be buy a
actually
PS4.
might be. I might literally just buy a PS4 and buy that game just to
Okay,
get.
but
get
you know,
it.
Metal Gear Solid
so-
didn't. But that's
It's so it looks so awesome,
It looks
and
like
it's
it-
by the guys who made Infamous.
Yeah.
Now I wanted more Infamous, but I'm okay with this. The game looks
maybe,
so awesome.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they're not going to give up on Infamous eventually. Also, Spider-Man,
yeah, Spider-Man
game.
I mean,
PS4.
Spider-Man. You have Spider-Man. You have
Arkham
Red
Knight,
Dead Redemption.
Batman Arkham Knight's great. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Too.
I think I already said Grand Theft Auto 5, but if I
Yeah.
didn't,
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Xbox One. What do you have to say about that?
Halo 5, it's still good gameplay. The story was a disappointment, but good gameplay. Halo Wars 2, surprisingly pretty good. Gears of War 4, I played a little bit of. It's got pretty tight gameplay.
Yeah.
I wish they would put that Scalebound, because I would have played the crap out of Scalebound.
Yeah.
But instead, we got Nier Automata.
You have an Xbox One, right? Do you prefer
Yep.
Xbox?
I think I prefer the Xbox's controller. I think it probably got slightly more power, even though it's pretty negligible at this point.
Yeah.
I think its user interface is garbage on the Xbox One. I think the PS4 has a better interface. I think it's a lot smoother, and I think it has a better lineup of games. But the Xbox One is sleeker and has a better controller.
Nice.
So there's pros and cons to each one.
Yeah, I mean it's just like picking. It's not really apples or oranges, it's just apples to
Yeah.
apples, really. It's
That-
not. It's just.
And I will say, if you're using it as an entertainment hub for like
Yeah.
Netflix and stuff like that, the Xbox is easier for that.
Mm.
But PlayStation VR does give an edge to PS4. That being said, I should mention PlayStation VR. It's pretty neat. Farpoint, Batman Arkham VR, and
Star Wars.
Star Wars: The X-Wing mission is pretty good too.
Neat.
And I think there was one other one, but I can't remember what it is.
Nintendo
Oh, Resident Evil
Switch.
7. You can play Resident Evil 7 in VR.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Nintendo Switch, Breath of the Wild is one of the greatest video games of all time.
Yeah, a lot to say about that. Though.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild. What other ones?
So much stuff.
Axiom Verge is pretty good.
Super
Splatoon.
Splatoon 2, yeah.
Mario Odyssey
Odyssey,
is
yeah.
really good.
Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Smash Ultimate is really great.
Yeah.
Fortnite.
Blanket Fortnite statement for all of them.
Is Fortnite dead yet, or?
Oh, it's
No,
not.
it's still going.
Apex might affect it, but it's still going.
Yeah. Other stuff. Lots of Wii U ports.
Super
that
Mario
are pretty
Odyssey.
good.
Splatoon 2. Pokemon.
Splatoon 2 is
I'm
fun.
expecting
Octopath Traveler.
Zelda, the Link's Awakening remake to be pretty great.
Yeah. Pokemon Let's Go is fun. Haven't beaten it.
Yeah.
Octopath Travel, a lot of people like
It
it.
is strange for me with the Link's Awakening remake that it looks such a small. Like it's gonna be great, but it's such a smaller scale version of
Of like
oh,
a
like
Zelda.
something as big as.
Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles
that,
2.
Breath of the
people
Wild?
like. a lot. I'm really excited for Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Chronicles 2 was good.
Yeah.
And also Chronicles X on the Wii U is one I forgot to say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dark
Um,
Souls. What? No, never mind.
The Dark Souls came out on the Switch, I think.
Yeah, Dark Souls Remastered. Dead Cells is kind of pretty great. Shovel Knight, one of my favorite video games ever. Play it on whatever you can. It's on everything.
Warframe is on there too. It's a pretty good free-to-play game.
I think. Oh yeah, and they're releasing a Pokemon game this year. You know, big deal.
Well, it's the first console release of a Pokemon game in a while.
Yeah, well,
Even though this
there
is
have
also
been
technically a handheld.
there have been a bunch of console Pokemon games, but they weren't like core RPGs.
Yeah, like the first core.
Yeah. This one looks awesome. Like it still looks like a Pokemon game, which is what I wanted.
Has the Switch killed off the 3DS yet, or is it on life support at this point?
The 3DS is still on life support.
Yeah.
Like
they're
the
still hanging
3DS,
on.
the 3DS. We're not talking about it right now, but it's got one of the greatest lineups of video games ever.
It's still hanging on. It's
Yeah.
still there.
I would buy a new Nintendo 2DS XL right now. Like it's a great console.
I don't think we're gonna get another handheld. I don't think Nintendo's gonna keep going with handheld and console after this. I think they just keep going with the Switch model. of it
Yeah,
being
keep
both.
iterating on whatever the Switch if they keep making new Switches and it's just like an upgrade,
I
or
think
if
after
it's just
the-
like a new console.
After the Wii U debacle, I think it'll just be we go with instead of doing the Switch 2 or the Switch U, it's just gonna be a new name, but a similar concept.
Yeah. So let's end it here. It's probably
That
pretty
was
late.
pretty much everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
We covered a lot.
that concludes the major home consoles. We didn't mention about the 3DO, but you can look it up on your own.
Yeah.
Um,
you know.
Maybe at a later date, if we discuss, we might do a handheld special because I think there's some stuff we can talk about.
Yeah.
there.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Although
And-
there's not much.
Now there's still enough there because Nintendo has so many handhelds.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but yeah.
Yeah. And then PC games. Maybe we talk about PC limited, or I just bring it as one of my topics. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's home consoles.
Yeah.
It's a lot to go. Just a lot to go.
Yeah.
through, for
There's
sure.
lots to go through.
It is
so,
interesting history though.
Yeah,
it is,
it's a really, really fascinating history, and we barely scratched the surface of the drama and the
Oh yeah, and all the
and
the fallout and
Yeah.
there's so many other closures and studio
Yeah.
changes and studio
Oh yeah.
closures.
So, yeah. So with that, unfortunately, I have some bad news. We are going to have to nix our idea of doing movie commentaries, just because our schedules haven't lined up really well to do that, and I don't want to promise anything that we can't deliver to
Yeah.
you. So with
Maybe
that,
we get them at some point, but no time anytime soon.
Yeah.
It's mostly
Don't
my
expect them
Yeah.
in a while.
Yeah.
And
But we'll still probably do a Star Wars special at some point.
We have
Yeah.
to. I think.
Maybe that's our season finale.
Maybe.
It's,
I would like to.
well, that or our season finale is Avengers.
I'll have already seen it by that
And I would have already wanted to talk about that.
because if
When
it comes
is
out,
what's our last day?
it's May. I think we have a week before that, so we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
figure
see.
it out.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're not gonna do movie commentaries, unfortunately. I have started a Nier Automata stream on the Catacast Twitch. I need to change that. name.
Change the name.
But yeah.
Can you change the name? I'm sure you can change
I
the
think
name.
you can.
Yeah.
Sire, social media.
Yeah, we're still at Castkate, CATE, or CASTCATE on Twitter, capital C's, because it won't let us change it. But we are the Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast name.
And I think you can still
Yeah.
search the Lab Rats Entertainment
And we'll
Podcast
pop up.
and it'll pop
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
We are at the Lab Rats Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. No, not Twitter. On Instagram, and we're on something else, aren't we? I don't know.
Facebook.
Actually,
oh yeah,
I think
we're
that's-
on YouTube.
We're on YouTube. Well, we're on there as well. You can also listen to us on wherever you're listening now, as well as Podbean, YouTube,
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and
Spotify.
We finally got that working. Right after I said I was going to give up, it started working. So
That's how it works.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give up more often. Yeah.
To get lesson learned.
Yeah.
Anything else?
we're not doing the commentaries. We're
I-
sorry we missed last week. There's some extenuating circumstances,
Yeah.
but
me being me.
that's not likely going to happen anytime in the future.
Yeah.
We will be taking off next week because it's our spring break.
Yeah.
So we missed last week. You have this week and then no next week. So it's going to be a little erratic. But after next week, we should be back to a regular rigid schedule for at least 7 weeks.
Check the YouTube channel Wednesday of next week, and you might see something. So I'm not going to promise anything, but
Share with your friends. Let everybody know what we do. If they're film fans, video game fans, just general nerds. Anything you want us to talk about, tweet at us or DM us on Instagram.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you have questions for us or like some kind of weird topic that you want us to talk about, please do. If we don't know anything about it, we're not gonna talk about it because that wouldn't do the topic any justice. But please feel free to be like, hey, there's this like obscure thing that I was wondering if you had any thoughts on it. Maybe one of us has seen it.
And if you check out any of the stuff that we mentioned, tweet at us or DM us with your thoughts on it and let us know what you thought. We'd
This
love to hear what
thing
you think.
ruined my day. Thanks, thanks,
Like,
Lab
if
Rats
you agree with me on The Last
Entertainment
Jedi, DM us. Let us know. I'd love to hear about it.
I regret doing a podcast with you people.
All right. Well, so I'm Ezra.
I'm Ahmad.
And I'm Sawyer.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.